Good morning, everybody. Today's date is August 31st, 2022. This is a regular meeting of the members of the State Liquor Authority being conducted in our office in New York City with video conferencing to Albany and Buffalo. Present today are Chairman Bradley, Commissioner Fan, and Commissioner Ford. Staff in attendance, Acting Constable Michael Amarato, Deputy Commissioner of Licensing Donahue, and myself, Secretary Roper. This meeting is also being live streamed on the Authority's YouTube channel. The next meeting dates are September 14th and September 28th. While in the meeting rooms, please silence your mobile phones and take any phone calls or conversations outside. No food or drinks. Also, for the New York City office, public restrooms are located on the second floor. And when you approach the podium, please don't touch the mic. We get a lot of feedback when you move it close to yourself. Items will be called in the order they are signed in, first in Buffalo, then Albany, and then in New York City. When your item is called, please approach the podium and identify yourself. Representatives, you should identify your clients as well when you approach. Chairman, do you have any announcements?
No.
All right. First item is in Buffalo. It's 1320 Reed's Jewelers of Niagara Falls, Inc. and JENSS Department Store, Inc.
Good morning. I'm David Locampio, attorney for Reed's Jewelers and JENSS. I have with me Jeffrey Zimmer, who is the principal of JENSS, and Robert Heil, who is our consultant. Kelly Guerin is also in the room, but probably isn't going to speak.
The only issue was the two.
There were some other issues, but they've been addressed by
So
licensing.
the two tenants entered into a partnership and they're both on the license?
That's correct.
And your maximum occupancy, you said, should be about 50, not 148, is that correct?
That's correct. It's a 10,000 square foot facility, but it is really a retail store, and the purpose of the application to serve liquor is to enhance the customer experience. It's not for the general public. So there's normally never more than 5 or 10 customers in the store at a time. The only time we might expect more than that is on a couple of the events where we might expect 25 or more in the store at the time. So we feel that the one bathroom is sufficient, given the fact that that's the actual capacity of what's going to be in the store.
So how are you actually running the business? So let's say someone is walking in, they're looking at the jewelry, so you go up and you offer a drink, or there's a separate bar, or how does it work?
If a customer is in and they're shopping and they are spending a little more time in discussing a higher end piece of jewelry, then the sales associate would offer them a beverage. The beverage is not an offer of liquor. They offer them espresso, soft drink, and then later in the day they would offer them a Prosecco or something like that. It is not out. It's only offered in the context of a sale and after the sale is being discussed.
Okay, and then you charge the alcoholic beverage separate from the piece of jewelry in the event that there's a purchase?
We do not charge for the liquor, but we pay for the tax on it. We do not charge the customer for it.
What we do is run it through the POS at the end of the day. So depending on how many cocktails we gave or Prosecco we gave, we ring it through and we pay the sales tax at that point. There's no charge. It's just an amenity.
Okay.
Yeah, we have hundreds of them already.
Commissioner Fan?
All right, I'm gonna, and it's recorded music only?
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna vote to approve with recorded background music only, 6 private events, and no promoters.
Commissioner Ford?
I vote to approve as well, and I also grant the waiver for 1 restroom.
Yep.
Chairman
I
Bradley?
vote to approve under the same conditions.
All right.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Next is 1290 Abbott and Vidal, Inc.
I'm Robert Heil, the consultant. The principal is Joseph Vidal.
There's opposition, correct? Is there opposition there, Brian?
Yes, there is.
Okay, we'll step back.
Yeah, if the opposition can come up.
Hi, my name is Greg Zamuda. I'm from Abbott Road Wine and Spirits. My store is located about a half mile from where this store is going to be located. Back in 2019, I was here to discuss another store, Best Value, that was within a half a mile of us. At the time, the authority agreed that the area is well serviced by the stores that were within the area. The square footage was good as well, so they granted Best Value their license strictly on the fact that it was in a grocery plaza and it was a convenience to the customers. The size of the store, retail as well as backroom, was limited, and I don't see things changing from that point. At the time, I sent census data showing this area losing population. It's lower to middle income. My store, I sent records for the last 4 years, 2019, 20, 21, and 22. The COVID year, there was an increase. 21, there was a decrease, and that was still kind of COVID. And then this year, we're down again. Our transactions have gone from 50,000 a year to date, August 26, when I sent this in, to 38,102. Dollars are increased only by price increases, and that's going to continue to happen. The economy is struggling. People are struggling. There's no more money handout-wise. We're just redistributing the sales that are there. It's not going to generate any additional sales. It's on a corner with no parking except in the rear of the building. And I don't see a benefit to the neighborhood. I had sent a map with like a 5-mile radius of stores. That center ring was done when Best Value was there. If you shift it a little to the left, there'll be 5 stores in less than a mile in an area losing population and lower to middle income. I don't necessarily see this being a benefit to the neighborhood or the customers. And I don't think much has changed since 2019.
Can I ask you a question? When you
Yeah.
said that last year there was 50,000 transactions and this year it's 38,000, is that a comparison month to month? Like, are you comparing?
No, that was January 1st through August 26th, and that 50,000 was in 2019. The 38,102 is January to August 26th of this year. But it's steadily gone down. It's gone from 50 to 48 to 43 to 38,000 year to date, January to August 26th. I tried to compare like dates.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think that it's clear that the numbers are going down. Your 21 is lower than your 18, so by a pretty significant amount. So.
Yeah, and my store's 9,000 square feet. This is going to be a small store. I'm not sure what it's going to bring to the neighborhood.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
There's no one else in opposition.
Okay, we did get 3 other protest letters. Go ahead, applicant.
Good morning. My name is Joseph Vidal. First, I'd like to start out by giving you a little bit of support as far as the neighborhood's concerned. It's a largely walking area, and we won't be located in a plaza such as the store that the gentleman just spoke of. And getting back to the drop in numbers, I'm familiar with the surge in business for 2020 because of COVID. There was a significant increase in the amount of business because bars and restaurants were all closed. So of course, 2021 is going to show a significant decrease because at that time, people all went back to work. For number one, they weren't drinking as much. And number two, bars and restaurants opened up to serve people. Getting back to the location of my store, my proposed store, it's not less than a half a mile from his store, as he stated. It's 0.8 miles from that store when you go to the map. He's located in a completely different city. Lackawanna will be located in Buffalo and serving the neighborhood, which consists of, in a 220 zip code, 26,500 residents, approximately 7,200 people per square mile. So basically, if you go a half mile one way on each side of my proposed store, you're gonna pick up 7,200 residents. Most of these residents, as he stated, are low-income residents. Some of them can't afford transportation. They can't afford delivery services. They'll be walking to my store. And as he mentioned, my store is gonna be 1,800 square foot. We're not here to put anybody out of business. Getting back to the benefit of this, we're clearly gonna benefit walkers in the neighborhood. Buffalo gets hit hard with the winters. You can't walk 2 miles for a bottle of wine round trip. We'll serve the people of our community, and we also plan on hiring 4 local people in walking distance that I already interviewed. I know I'm jumping the gun on this, but my plan is to employ 4 local citizens that are in walking distance. My other point would be to promote New York State wines and spirits, which most of the stores in the area don't do. I'm going to dedicate a section of my store to strictly promote New York State product. I submitted nearly 200 signatures about a week and a half ago in a few exhibits that show you the distance to the stores. We will be the only store in the 220 zip code on Abbott Road in Buffalo, New York. I also purchased this building not knowing I was going to have all this opposition. I tied up all my life savings to make this business happen. I'm still going here. I apologize. I'm kind of nervous right now. Across the street from my store, literally 50 feet, there's a Rite Aid pharmacy which services approximately 400 people a day. So it would be very convenient for one-stop shopping in that regard. Basically, my summary here is it would be a benefit for local residents. We would hire 4 local citizens from the neighborhood. We'll promote New York State wines. And that's about all I have. Do you have anything to add, Bob?
Just put the points that you made.
All right, thank you. Any questions?
Okay, I just want to clarify whether the closest store is actually bulletproof or not. Are the closest stores bulletproof?
He's here, isn't he? I think he's here.
No, he's the we have them as none of them being bulletproof.
None of them being bulletproof, right? Okay, because in one of the letters.
Members ready to vote?
Can I add something?
Yeah.
Yeah. in one of the opposition letters, they stated that they are treading water when they actually just put on a addition twice the size of their store. So I don't understand if they were treading water, why they would put an addition on the store if the business wasn't successful. That would be Seneca Liquors.
Prices.
The members ready to vote?
Yep.
Commissioner Fan?
Other stores are actually showing growth in numbers. And one store is showing drop, one store is showing flat, and 2 stores are showing growth. It's a really small store is an open store. I'm gonna vote to approve.
Commissioner Ford?
Cazenovia Liquors is on the other side of Cazenovia Park. The other store that we licensed back in 2019 is well on the other side of I-90. Relatively far away as far as population centers go in Buffalo. I think the store is ideally situated between Seneca to the north and Abbott to the south. And it's a small building on a corner, and I do agree, it looks to me like it would be the kind of place that would support walk-up traffic. So I think it does meet public convenience and advantage, so I'm going to vote to approve as well.
And Chairman Bradley?
I'm going to vote to deny. There's been no evidence that there's a population increase. We just licensed the store in 2019, which is one of the 4 closest stores. The 2 closest stores are showing decreasing or flat sales. And I don't see the location being convenient, given that it's not in a plaza. There's no real attraction. And I don't agree with the walking in Buffalo. Having lived in Buffalo, there's 7 months a year where there's nobody walking. So I vote to deny.
But you've been approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Next is 1289. That's Westgate, KOUAME Enterprises, LLC.
Good morning. My name is Tracy Jong. I'm here with Susan KOUAME, the applicant. This is an application for a liquor store in Gates, New York. It is located in an area where there are 3 large retail strip malls on 3 of the 4 corners. This is a corner heading toward the airport in Rochester. I think there's a Wegmans Plaza across the street.
Can I just stop? Can I stop you there? Is there opposition in the room?
There is no
'Cause we-
opposition.
We did get 1 protest. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yes, addressing that protest, we look at the sales and they're actually not decreasing. I know the sales that were in the Bear protest letter, they had like 10% the first year, 4% a recent year. They only had 1 year with a 1%, but they say that it'll hurt their store. However, they've showed increasing sales each of the years. This liquor store, essentially, this is an area where there is.
All right, looks like the members are ready to vote. So, Commissioner Fan?
Given that the closest store is doing 3 million is 1.6 mile away, and you have the support of the local Chamber of Commerce, and it's a good location. I'm going to find public convenience and advantage. I'm going to vote to approve.
Commissioner Ford
I vote to approve on the same reasons.
and Chairman Breather.
I vote to approve as well.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is 1282 C. FANTAUZZO Enterprise LLC, DBA Studio Lounge. FANTAUZZO.
Good morning. Again, Tracy Jong from Tracy Jong Law Firm. I'm here with both of the applicant principals, Chris and Carl Fantozzo. This is an application for a bar in downtown Rochester. They're here because they had previously made an application with a consultant, and they had a tied house issue that has been resolved. This is a new application. They also had
But
a...
the information we have is that was not the only issue. They were serving before they had a license.
I was just about...
Am I wrong
that
on
was-
that?
No, I was mid-sentence to address that.
Okay.
So they're also here because at the time that they were preparing to open, they were not open to the public, but apparently there was a complaint and an investigator came. They were inside and they were testing recipes with their chef and making cocktails with their bartender. They were not selling or serving to the public. They were not open, and they said that to the investigator, but they were inside. They did have alcohol. They did not understand that they could not have it there at the time. They were preparing for their opening that was about to happen. And you know, they've certainly learned their lesson on that with it. So they did admit that they had alcohol when it was during construction, and it was just before their opening, and they were practicing the recipes. And that's
How
what
many
the
people?
investigator
How
thought.
many people were in there?
The family, the principals, and the parents.
So how many?
I think there were 10.
Yeah, it was 10 or 12 people in there.
So
That
they
seems
had
like
the
that's a little more than testing recipes.
no, it
Did,
was the chef, the chefs, the bartender, and then the principals and their parents. So it was immediate family and the staff that was actually doing the cooking and preparing and testing.
Did the investigators show up during the event or afterwards?
During.
So someone called it in while it was going on?
Yeah, we got a complaint.
No,
While it was going on?
no, there was a complaint that in general, we don't know exactly what the complaint, but they were coming to investigate a complaint that was made from an earlier date. He showed up at that time, knocked at the door. They said they're not open to the public at all. You know, it was closed. It wasn't open. So
You're missing the point. It doesn't matter if they're open to the public. And clearly we got a complaint that this was happening before. Then the investigator, our investigator, says he went into the place and there were 15 to 20 people in there. The bar was already stocked. No, listen, and maybe I've been doing this too long. And I'm going to give them their license. I'm not sitting here trying to threaten them. But I'd rather they come in and just lay down on the sword. You know what? We're young kids. We did something stupid. Instead, you're making up this story that I am not believing, and it's frustrating me that I have to now go look to prove that you're lying to me.
Yeah, sir, we had 10 to 12 people in there. We really were tasting the drink and food menu at the time. We were unaware that we weren't allowed to have, test bottles that we were preparing to open. We were very close, we felt, to getting the liquor license. There was somebody else that was getting the license. We applied at the same time. It was another restaurant, and they had just been awarded their temporary. So we felt we were very close behind them. But again, there was booze on the property. We had, we were creating a craft cocktail menu. So in that instance, we had, one bottle of each spirit there because we had, 10 to 15 drinks on the menu. But there was, we never sold any drinks. We weren't trying to, undermine you guys. I honestly, at 26 years old, I had no idea that was against, that was a violation. And I do apologize for it, and it won't happen again.
All right. I don't have any names. I'm good.
Go ahead, I'm sorry. And this, is that your grandfather that gave you the money, or is it, and there's nothing tied to that, it's a gift?
Yeah, that's my grandfather, correct?
Okay.
And so you guys formed a new entity to apply for this that does not have your father on it? Is that what happened?
Yeah, well, it's the same entity, but we removed him from it.
You removed him from the entity, okay, fine.
Yeah.
They not
And you
only
want-
removed him, but they
Yeah,
also
go-
removed him from the financing with the bank.
Okay, and are you gonna have a manager or are you guys gonna manage yourself?
I'll be self-managing.
You'd be self-managing, and it's 2 security guards every day or as needed on the weekends?
Yeah,
What's the
primarily
plan?
on the weekends. Primarily on the weekends.
Okay, because if I put it on your license, you're going to, unless I say as needed, you're going to need to hire someone every day. So I kind of don't want to lock you in unless you need it. So I'm going to give you 2 as needed.
Okay, thank you.
So, all right, I'm going to vote to approve with 2 security guards as needed, principals to manage, recorded live DJ, patron dancing, 10 private events a year, no promoters, 2 a.m. Monday to Saturday, midnight on Sunday.
Commissioner Ford?
What were the hours again, Commissioner Fan?
It's basically 2 a.m. across the board, midnight on Sunday.
I'll vote to approve under the same circumstances, same stipulations, I'm sorry.
Actually, I'm looking at it. For some reason, you had said 6 p.m. on Sunday.
Yeah,
Is
we
that-
plan on opening in the morning for a brunch. But if we do have the option to open till midnight that day, that would be appreciated.
All right, I'll do 2 a.m. and midnight on Sundays.
I'll approve as well under the same condition.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next is 1317, Alexis MOUZON, Lake Avenue Liquor.
Hello, I'm Alexis MOUZON.
Is there any opposition there, do you know?
No, there is no opposition.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Alexis MOUZON. Thanks for having me today. I am here because I would like to open up a liquor store on Lake Avenue. It's in the plaza on Stowe Road and Lake Avenue.
And what else is in that plaza?
It is a Chinese restaurant. It's a smoke shop. It's Pontillo's, very good pizza by the way. It's a hair salon in that plaza, and I think having a liquor store there would be the anchor. Bring the community out. Is the big high rise over there, and it's by the beach also. If you guys not aware, it's by the beach. And it's like a very good location, and I've been really trying to get this spot for a minute now, and I'm happy to be here at this point.
Well, are you familiar with Henry's Liquor?
Is he around? I think he's around.
I'm sorry. Yes, I just answered my own question, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Henry's is on the other side of the Genesee River.
Yeah.
Across the
In the
bridge on
plaza by
outside.
the grocery store.
Okay.
The members ready to vote?
Yeah.
Commissioner Fan?
Are you going to continue your school job?
Yes, ma'am. And my school actually just moved down the street. When our buildings closed, and we're moving to Charlotte High School, so I'm like right down the street, also in the neighborhood.
Okay, it's not within 200 foot though, right?
No, that high school rings bells. I played them in basketball in the state
Are you
tournament.
serious? Oh my god. That's so crazy. So you're gonna go to school and then work at the store in the afternoons?
Yes, and I also have a big support system, you know. I'm gonna hire, of course, because I want my business to be successful. And I can't do it by myself, but I will definitely oversee everything.
Okay, all right. All the 4 surrounding stores are showing growth. I find public convenience advantage. I'm gonna vote to approve. Good luck.
Commissioner Ford?
I guess I should know this, but I'm going to ask you. Aren't there any other liquor stores in Charlotte? I'm surprised if they're not.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So it was meant for me.
I think the ayes have it here, so I vote to approve as well. Good luck.
And Chairman Brown.
I'll vote to approve as well.
It was meant to
Okay,
be.
thank you guys.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Next in Buffalo, 1288 Sands 2 Inc.
Good morning to the board. My name is Justin White, and I'm here with the applicant, Mr. Deep Singh.
And there is opposition there, correct?
Is there opposition?
Yes, there is.
Come on up.
Step down.
Hi there. My name is Rachel Lasachi, and I'm here representing Chateau Liquors, Inc. We are about 2 miles away from the proposed location.
Can I stop you there? You
Yeah.
work there?
I do. I manage the property. I've been there
Okay.
for 8 years.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
You're welcome. And this particular proposed property has been denied in the past by the same name, I believe, and also by somebody else in the recent few years. And there hasn't been very much substantial changes or anything in the community for there to really warrant another site as large as this. So we're just here to ask that this be denied, just because there is such an oversaturation in the area. And our numbers are showing that obviously in 2020, they were up due to pandemic, but this year compared to last year, we're on pace, actually slightly under from last year as well. So it doesn't seem to serve the community or serve a public service to that community to open up yet another location when there are surrounding big stores around us within 4 miles.
What's your store?
Wine and Liquor Chateau.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good morning again. Justin White, on behalf of the applicant, with the applicant himself, Mr. Deep Singh. I'm kind of surprised about any opposition, particularly with respect to geographical location, distance between the present proposed location and Chateau. We're talking about at least 2 miles, and we're in a proposed to be in a strip plaza along Millersport Highway in Gettsville. There's plenty of other businesses just around the corner from us, including car dealerships, Burrito Bay, Pizza Works, John and Mary. So we kind of feel like we're in an isolated area here behind the University of Buffalo. And again, it's kind of a surprise that this Chateau would protest since the distance is so great. We have convenient parking for patrons. That's not a problem. It's a long strip mall. We're in the middle of the strip mall. It's a growing community. It's a vibrant community. The University of Buffalo, as I say, we're in the shadow of the University of Buffalo. There's a large Indian and immigrant community in Williamsville and in Amherst and in Gettsville, the area where we hope to open. So we think we're kind of filling a gap here, if you will, and one that will allow for plenty of convenient shopping by people who are there for Bank of America, Dollar General, the Post Office, Rite Aid, Riverside Credit. It's a high traffic location. It runs between Williamsville and Lockport. So we won't see any inconvenience to anybody, really.
Well, your client's applied twice here and not been granted. Why do you think that is if it's so convenient?
Well, it was,
I know why.
I'm not familiar with any suggestion that there's been two applications. I don't understand that.
there's been.
He applied twice.
Yeah, but this is one of them.
Oh.
This one got denied, and then reconsideration was granted.
But the earlier one he applied and it was denied, and you're not aware of why that was denied?
He's not aware of having made an application. I'm really confused. What application would have been made and applied? He's never applied for a liquor store in this location.
Has it? Let's put it. Does you recall applying for a license that got denied? It wasn't a package store license. It was a tavern wine license.
A tavern wine license?
Yeah.
Help me, because
No, I never applied.
Well, maybe he can help us. He applied for a tavern wine license and it got disapproved? Does that ring a bell?
It does not. My client operates.
Does his canceled license ring a bell? I'm just wondering. Does he remember getting a license canceled?
See, his lack of candor with you is basically the behavior we've been getting.
Well, excuse me.
He has a history of not telling us things.
Well, I guess if I could be assisted just a tad in knowing what license was canceled.
Does he know?
Were you ever have a license canceled?
He had a convenience store beer license canceled in 2015.
That was with the that gas station.
Oh, yeah, okay, yes, thank you. He was part of a company that had a gas station beer and wine license, and that was canceled because someone from Rochester had come in and screwed the thing up, and my client left the whole operation. He walked away from it. You're absolutely correct. No.
We forgot to take our name off.
His name was not taken off in a prompt manner. He had very little to anything to do with that company, and he got out of it. They wanted to do some things that he did not agree with, and he walked away from it.
He also had an arrest that he didn't.
Yeah, and then he applied at this location for something else, not a liquor store, and he got arrested and didn't tell us.
Well, no, I think that's been cleared up by communications that I've had with the authority.
No, you're not listening. He applied for the tavern wine license, didn't report the arrest. That application got denied. He filed this application, didn't report the arrest. It got denied, and then he cleared it up.
I have correspondence in my file that's pretty.
You're missing the point. You're missing the point here. You're arguing with public record that can easily be found. And our problem with the guy is that he has a problem giving us information when the law requires him to do it. And whether he's doing that intentionally or because he's ignorant doesn't really bode well for somebody who's going to get a liquor license. Either way.
I would submit a couple of things in response to that. I understand the authority's concern. He has a license now with the restaurant that he operates. It's a license he's had for 20 years. It's been virtually blemish-free. There's been no history of any difficulties at that restaurant. So one can predict that the operation of a liquor store not far away is going to have the same type of history. There were obviously some misunderstandings, but my client is from India. He's not completely versed in communicating, so there may be a problem there. But I think the point I'm trying to make is every time there was an issue, it was clarified, efforts were made to remedy shortcomings or shortfalls. There was no effort to conceal or prevent the authority from having full information. And there's another element. I don't know if it makes any difference or not. My client has been leasing the premises since 2020, and he's paid, I don't know, countless numbers of months of rent to the landlord, premises available for use, and we're probably up north of $20,000 so far.
So is there another lease? Because the lease you gave us started in June of 2021.
Right? It started in
You just said 2020.
I misspoke. It was 2021. It's been an entire year of leasing the premises and paying for it, 15 months actually. And that's resulted in significant financial investment by my client. He has
But you understand that the application would have been heard sooner if he didn't lie in the application to begin with.
So
I'm not complaining. Don't.
No, we beat this to death. We're done talking.
let me ask you a question. So the lease was written to have a restaurant at first, and then now it's changed to a liquor store? Like, what does the lease say?
No, it was for a liquor store.
The other license, the other application was for a different place.
For a different location?
Yeah, let me just double check that.
It's not the same address?
I'll double check.
Is he still disqualified because he doesn't have a certificate of disposition? Or we don't have one on file for it?
He's not disqualified. It was only a misdemeanor.
It was a misdemeanor? Okay, all right.
Yeah, that's in Tonawanda.
All right, done.
We get back to my notes. All right, Commissioner Fan.
I'm going to find public convenience and advantage. The closest store is over 2 miles away. The 4 closest stores are all showing relative growth. The 3rd closest store did over $8 million of business last year. So I'm going to vote to approve.
Commissioner Ford.
You know, I do think that it meets public convenience and advantage where you're located. I'm just not sure, I'm not comfortable with the applicant being honest about everything he's told us or not told us. So for that reason, I'm going to vote to deny.
And Chairman Bradley.
I'm going to vote to deny as well. I don't see public convenience and advantage myself. There's been no population numbers showing an increase in population. And I also have a problem with the applicant's credibility, given that we had to remind him that he was previously arrested and didn't notify the authority. So I question whether we would actually, if he was obligated to share information, whether that information would be shared. So I'm doing it on both grounds for cause and public convenience and advantage.
All right, thank you. All right, and Brian, there's no other matters in Buffalo, is that correct?
No, there is not.
All right, thank you. You can log off.
Thank you.
All right, so we're moving to Albany. First item there is 1286, the Sawmill Inc.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners, members of the board. My name is Sean May. I represent the Sawmill Incorporated. I'm here this morning with LMA Smith, the president of the corporation. This is a conditional no contest offer. The charge is currently in front of the board. The offer was a $15,000 fine and an earlier closing time, which was 12 p.m. That's what the legal department would
Mr. May?
12 a.m.?
Yeah, 12 p.m. I mean, honestly, we
AM.
would appreciate a 12 p.m. last call and everybody out by 1 o'clock.
12 a.m.?
Or 12 a.m., I'm sorry.
Mr. May?
Yes.
How is that an earlier closing time? Because the application, the last method of operation form that was on file says closing time is 10 p.m. on Friday to Sunday and 9 p.m. Monday to Thursday. So how is 12 a.m. earlier?
Yeah, Tom, I saw that during the emergency suspension meeting. I don't know. I certainly didn't do that. I don't have that information. When was that? Because I know this application was filed.
2012. In 2012, they filed that form saying that was their closing times.
Yeah, that's not an accurate form. That's all I can say. I'm not familiar. I saw that on the emergency suspension hearing, but that's
Well,
not.
that's
that
what
was
they
not the
filed.
intention. I understand what you're saying. A 10 p.m. closing time is, it's not even viable for a business of this type. That was a mistake.
Well,
We certainly
can I ask
imagine-
that if you knew that back when the summary suspension was done, has anything been done to address that? If you're
Not yet.
saying it was a mistake.
So right now, I think that we're arguing over something that, right now, her closing times are 10 p.m. and 9, not 12. So
According
right
to
now,
the
what you're
method of
at,
operation.
what you're asking for is a change in method of operation after people got shot in her bar.
I understand.
And
Yeah.
I kind of would like an explanation about what has happened. She's been open since 1979. We had some problems in 2013 or 19 and 2021. But prior to that, it looks like nothing. Now we have gunshots going off.
Yeah, in 2017, the other owner of the bar, Don Birch, had passed away. The estate has been set up and it's still open. We anticipate, from what I'm told, the estate will be settled in January. And at that point, JD, Don Birch's son, is going to come on board and assist with the operation. He'll be 25 years old at that point. He's got another business. Ellie was kind of thrust into this when Don died, and the estate hasn't been much of assistance. And she's been doing the best she can, but obviously we need to do better. The estate is going to be wrapped up in January, and one of the Birch's son, Don's son, JD, is supposed to come on and co-partner. We'll do a corporate change application. He's going to be added to help run the establishment. In the meantime,
She doesn't have, I can tell you this, she doesn't have till January.
if it happens again, well, we purchased the recently purchased.
Police,
a
and
metal
I'm just gonna give you some facts. The police department's been called 43 times in the last year, 106 property patrols also in the last year, 6 different incidents of shots fired. This is Schenectady.
Yes, Chairman, and there are problems in other locations nearby as well.
I
It's
know,
been
but
difficult.
the way to cure that is to shut it. Unless somebody needs to straighten it out.
Right,
I
we
looked
have
at the
Go ahead, I'm
police
sorry,
reports and noticed that many, if not most incidents were after midnight.
When she shouldn't have been open.
When she shouldn't have been open in the first place.
Absolutely, the later hours are difficult, yes. But as I was saying, we did purchase a wand. Everybody's going to be wanded. There is security there. We added lights to the front porch. The latest incident happened on the front porch, not technically inside the establishment. So we added more lights on the front porch, and there's going to be security out there as well. We think that can take care of the problems that we've been having. But again, until we really need someone from the Birch family to come on and assist in running the place, which that is going to happen soon.
That's a risk you're asking us to assume.
I don't know
along
what we
with
do
you.
with the hours. I'm
It's a
not
risk
granting.
that, yeah,
If
we're
she's
taking
10,
as well.
if she's 10, I'm not giving her 12. How late was she open illegally?
It was
Was she
never
open till
ever
4?
mentioned 10, even when Birchall ran it.
I know what
Somebody-
you're saying. There was a method of operation filed in 2012 that said your closing hours are 10 p.m.
He never saw it.
You filed an alteration application back in 2012, and or somebody did, and
But
you
that was for the
submitted.
backyard.
That was to add the backyard.
That was just the backyard.
Okay, let
That's
me
what
let
he
me
was-
finish. Let me finish.
I'm sorry.
With the application, you submitted a method of operation form that listed those hours.
Yep, understood. And I didn't file that application. That was clearly a mistake, and we'd like the opportunity to correct that. As you said, it hasn't been done yet, Tom, but 10
So let's
p.m.
go back to Chairman's question. How late were you open?
3 o'clock. We were open till 4, then I changed it to 3 because I was having too many problems. And I was starting to close earlier and earlier. They're all local bars in that area now close at 1 o'clock.
Well, you're not going to be open that late.
I don't know.
I will go along with 12 o'clock.
It was nice of you.
But
10
I don't
o'clock,
think.
you don't make any money at 10 o'clock in a
It's a
bar.
revenue issue.
Yeah, but I'm not concerned with you making money. I'm more concerned about the people getting shot.
They don't come in to get shot at that time. There's
No,
nobody
no
in
one
the bar.
comes in to get shot, but that's what's been happening.
But
It's a late night area, is I think the intent is.
the casino, the Rivers Casino is around the corner. And everybody's at that place. And they come in after hours. So I won't have any business until after hours. So I won't have business anyways. So I'm just asking to stay open for my employees, that's all.
All right. Commissioner Fan?
I'm gonna take 15,000 and midnight.
Commissioner Ford?
You've been there a long time. Yeah, it's kind of sad to see how things have deteriorated recently. But I'm going to take 15,000 and give you to midnight as well. But I can tell you, for the rest of the time that I'm here, if you come back before me again, I'm going to vote to cancel your license for good. If that's before, after your estate is settled or not, you might want to try to expedite that with them if possible. Tell them your license is on the line. I don't know, whatever you want to do. But so I'm going to give it to you, but I'm telling you, this really is the absolute last time that I will see you here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman Bradley?
I'll vote to approve the offer, but they have to file a method of operation change.
Not if you're signing off on it as part of the penalty. We'll
All right,
just
12
change the
a.m.
hours.
across the board, 15,000. But I
Thank you.
concur with Commissioner Ford.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Next is 1352G, S&M Washington LLC.
Okay. It's up to you. Otherwise, I'll talk to you soon. Good morning. Sean May again for S&M Washington. This is Romero McDowell, and I'm here with James Scott, the principals of the license. We were here last time, and we took the concerns of the board to heart, and we submitted additional documentation, additional diagrams showing we have now tables set up and some chairs on the shelving. We have bolstered the menu as suggested, and we also brought on a manager. We submitted the personal questionnaire Mike Ripley. Mr. Ripley was the former co-owner of Blue 82 on Pearl Street in Albany. They owned that establishment during the heyday of Pearl Street when there was, all the problems downtown, and they managed that establishment well and had no violations during that time period, which was quite chaotic, to be honest. And he's already been a valuable member with his advice and direction. Again, this is near University of Albany. We understand the issues. Yeah, we also submitted the.
Tell me the last licensed establishment where Michael Ripley worked again.
It was Blue 82 was the.
What is it called?
Blue 82 is the.
On Pearl Street, right?
The DBA on Pearl Street, yeah. It's,
okay.
Yeah. So, Romario and James, they're in their 30s now. They're not looking for a college bar. They want a place. They live in the neighborhood. They want a neighborhood establishment. We understand the concerns due to the proximity, but This is not what we're trying to do here. We would like to have a neighborhood establishment, and I think we've addressed the concerns, and we would like the chance to move forward.
I did notice that your menu has been, what's the word I'm looking for? Fortified a bit?
Fortified. Yes.
And these security guard IDs these are guys that are planning to work with you, or?
Yes, yes, Commissioner. Those are the security. Those are the people that we're going to be using for security when, as needed. Yes.
Is that through a security guard firm, or are you hiring them on your own?
They all have their
Well,
individual security licenses.
Yeah, it's not through a firm at this time. These are the people that they were going to bring on for security. Payroll. They're going to be on payroll.
They have a proprietary license to hire them?
Not at this time. No. So, if we went through a security firm, that would be different than if we hired these guys separately. We need a proprietary security guard license to hire these, correct? Yeah.
So the whole DJ thing, is that, how do I put this? It's got to be more like he's doing recorded music and, you know, and not encouraging like a rave or something like that. You guys understand that?
Yes.
Yes. Correct, Commissioner. Yeah, the DJ is saying, you know, the thought process was he's got a large music collection. He would like to go there and play his music collection. It's not going to be the traditional DJ lights. That's not what we were looking to do, but
Good,
I think it fits into the DJ kind of.
You got neighbors all around you, if I remember correctly, the last time I looked at this, right? You're in a neighborhood, correct?
Residential. It's mixed
Residential
use.
Mixed use.
What time you close? Is there an outdoor area?
There is a back deck.
What time are you closing that?
We usually close it with the establishment at 1.
1 o'clock? 1 o'clock, Chairman.
Last time Commissioner Ford was mentioning 1 a.m. across the board. Is that okay? Is that an acceptable operation hour to start with?
Close at
7
1
days a
a.m.
week, until 1 a.m.?
That's acceptable, Chairman, or Commissioner, I'm sorry. Yes.
And last time we talked about a scanner at the
Yes,
door.
we're purchasing a scanner, yes. So we were actually holding off. And wands. Okay, and we were actually holding off until approval because those scanners are expensive. But that is, we will be employing a scanner. It's 21 and older in the establishment.
The
Absolutely.
scanner, when we say scanner, we're not talking about the expensive piece of equipment. We're talking about the app that goes on a phone that costs less than $100 a month.
Those are effective at the scanning the IDs.
In my experience, they're 100% effective. The licenses are connected to it. The app is connected to every DMV database in the country.
Even better. Yeah.
So, yeah, we don't even have to get a scanner. Yeah, we could definitely use that.
That would be great. Yes. Yes, Chairman.
And if you have questions, you can call our enforcement division.
Excellent.
All right, Commissioner Fan, if you're ready to vote.
Yes, I'm going to vote to approve with the following conditions. Recorded background music and DJ is allowed. No private events, no promoters. I'm going to allow dancing. Security guard as needed. Manager is required. I'm going to require a scanner in the form of an app that Chairman was just mentioning. 1 a.m. across the board, including the outdoor area. And I'm going to ask you to submit an updated personal questionnaire for these two principles, just to reflect the additional investment that you're making, because this is showing 12,000 and clearly you're beyond 12,000 at this point. So,
Do you want an updated personal questionnaire or just an updated list of expenses?
Yes, so the updated list of expenses, that's what I mean.
The financial disclosure.
The financial, yes, just add it. Other than that, that's all I've got. Good luck.
Thank you.
Commissioner Ford?
I'm going to approve under all the same conditions and stipulations.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner.
And Chairman Bradley?
I'm going to approve as well under the same conditions.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, members.
Good luck, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Have a good day.
All right, next is 1333 Breakeys Liquor Store, LLC.
Walter Breakey's Liquor Store, LLC.
There is no opposition.
So your relative expanded the store before they passed away and never told us?
Apparently so.
And now you own it?
Yes, sir. Actually, the purchase will take place when the way the contract is worded is that the purchase will go through when the permanent license is approved.
Okay. I'm gonna vote to approve.
Commissioner Ford?
I had a question about another store. So the other store that's like a sand wedge away from you, you guys have been coexisting for 11 years with no issues?
Correct.
All right. I'll vote to approve as well.
I'll vote to approve.
All right, thank you. You've been approved. Oh, I guess Paula muted. Paula, is there anything else in Albany?
No, sir.
All right, you can log off and go back to work. Thank you.
Okay.
That was.
I'll go back to work now.
I guess it's a joy. That's how she spends her time.
This is a vacation right now.
Yeah.
Vacation's over.
Bye, Paul.
Thank you, Paula.
Thank you. All right. So first, New York City is 1296.
I do have
an
announcement.
Okay.
That I didn't have before, but today, if you've looked at our agenda, the board's considering a number of advisories that were put forward on the basis of suggestions from Tom Donahue, our Deputy Commissioner for Licensing.
Blame me, huh?
If they're bad, you can go after him. To help minimize the application preparation deficiencies and the SLA review time. We've looked at parts of the process that are time-consuming for applicants and examiners and have worked to clarify, minimize, and eliminate those that we're allowed to under law. Deficiencies are by far and away the biggest and most consuming part of the application review process. We allow 2 deficiencies per application, and that generally means that each of those takes at least adds another 6 weeks to 2 months to the application time. This is part of our ongoing commitment to bring down processing time substantially in the coming months. We recognize at present that we continue to increase as application volume increases, particularly in the area of temporary permits, which recently became legal in New York City. We have getting an enormous volume of those, which is a good thing. To address this, in addition to the advisories and continued look at our processes, we're continuing to hire new staff at the governor's direction. We've hired 9 new examiners to date and continue to recruit with urgency over 20 more licensing staff to handle the application volume. The one problem we are having, which I think most industries in the country are having, is finding bodies to fill these jobs. Literally cannot find people to be interviewed. Additionally, we are also continuing to move forward on the go live on our computer system, which has been going on for well over 3 years at this point. When I initially announced that that project was starting, the time frame was actually 15 months. We're now almost into 36. We're over 36 months. But once that goes live, which should be towards the end of or right after the end of the year, this will begin to allow for online application submission and fee payment. It will also automate many of the steps along the way in processing, which will save time. And lastly, we continue to emphasize temporary permit applications. They're generally being issued in 2 to 4 weeks when there is not a 200-foot law hearing involved, and when there is a 500-foot law hearing involved. When there is a 500-foot law hearing, we've taken steps to recently taken steps to reduce those rates. So those temporary applications are that the rate of approval should just be several weeks instead of what has been taking a couple months. We have right now approximately 2,000 businesses in New York State that are open and operating under temporary permits, meaning a large majority of the businesses that are open and operating that are open and operating also have pending licenses, but they were open and operating in just several weeks. We'll continue to bring on staff as quickly as possible and to look at all aspects of our processes as we move towards turning the corner. I just hope and urge you to continue to be patient with us. Tom's doing a tremendous job, and you'll see from the advisories that he's proposed will take a significant burden off the applicant in having to produce certain documents to us. We have more coming, and that just doesn't help the applicant, but it helps our examiners because it's less documents that they have to review, and it's also less documents that the applicant could make errors on, which would then have to be fixed and create deficiencies. So I applaud him for that, and I just hope that you all can remain patient with us because we are working on this as diligently as we can. We understand that where we're at right now is not acceptable. It's not acceptable to me, and it's not acceptable to anybody in the agency, and we're going to continue to make sure that those review times drop significantly over the coming months.
Can I just add two things? First, it wasn't just me, all right? The chairman and our CEO, Sharif Kabir, said, find ways to streamline the application process. And I went to my staff, and, they're regularly coming to me saying, we do it this way, and we're trying to, improve things. The other thing too is, if and when these advisories are approved, please don't start emailing and calling either me or my staff this afternoon because saying, I have an application and now it can be, all right? I need to meet with my staff tomorrow morning once the members, approve whatever they approve and then give them instructions. We are going to try to, whatever is pending that can get moved faster, we'll do that, but please don't be contacting us saying, okay, well, here's my application, because that's actually going to take time away from us to move your application.
Okay, Donald.
All right. So next is 1296 Simple Motive Brewing Co. LLC.
Good morning, everyone. Robert Romano. I'm sorry to take you away from your jobs. I'm here with Matthew Williams and Andy Alexis.
Thanks for all the letters.
Yep.
I'm going to vote to extend another 6 months.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Commissioner Ford.
Look at these two guys. You think you can tell
I
them no?
told them, I warned them, it could be fast, either
You can
way.
have anything you want, approved.
And I'll approve as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Good luck, guys.
Thanks.
Next is 1315 Blue Lounge Corp.
Okay, Robert Romano again. This is a conditional no contest plea in the amount of $7,500. I've spoken at length with this licensee. A lot of the incidents that had been happening were happening in their adjacent parking lot. They have cameras, which they have new cameras they just installed on that lot. They will have one security guard dedicated outside at that lot, as well as an interior.
The mistake the security guard made was letting the guy back in.
Right.
After he'd been booted out for what he was booted out for.
Right.
So
So,
I'm gonna accept.
I'm sorry.
I think this should just be higher given their history, but, I was gonna go to 10,000, but, okay.
thank you very much.
Next is 1335, 21902 Associates Corp.
You're right.
That's all right.
What number?
Try to save the guy.
That was 1315.
1335?
No, 1335.
Oh.
That's not you, Blue Lounge Corp, right?
No,
No.
we're right behind
1335.
Mr.
That's
Romano.
what we just did in my hand right now. 1335, 21902 Associates Corp.
Thank you.
Are you good with that?
Patrick Toluca,
Paid the price.
my client, Mr. Kumar.
Are you good with that?
Yeah.
You're okay with it?
All right, so this is an AX. The guy, the applicant has availed, or the license, location was canceled for availing in 2014. The applicant was the availer. This is his third attempt to get his license back. I think at this point he's paid the price, so I will vote to approve.
I'll vote to approve as well.
As do I.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Thank
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Next is 1334, Rangoon Restaurant Concepts, LLC.
1334. Morning.
Good morning. Mike Palutis on behalf of the applicant. I'm joined this morning by Mayo Mo, the applicant's owner, and her husband, who manages their Brooklyn location. His name is Daniel Benji.
And so there's a lot going on here.
Yeah, it's financial checkerboard of undisclosed investors.
Can I make a couple of quick notes on the financing?
Yeah.
So, with respect to the Square loan, Square is a federally insured banking institution. There is no signed agreement. Square doesn't provide one. Square is also responsible for managing the credit card transactions for this licensee. They are licensed in Brooklyn already. And so they're, I guess they're comfortable with risk and they don't require a signed agreement. So I don't have one to provide. In any event, the Square loan has been repaid in full. So there is no remaining debt.
It's been paid in full?
It's been paid in
Oh,
full.
okay.
And the same applies to the expansion capital loan. That loan has also been paid.
That was the factoring, receivable factoring company?
That's correct, Chairman.
So that's been paid in full?
It's been paid in full.
So neither one exists now?
Neither one exists at present.
And
no factoring, and no future receivable agreement.
and they're husband and wife?
They are.
Who's on the license, both?
No, just Mayo.
One of them is also a signatory on certain documents.
And represented as the co-founder of the company.
I understand. They've worked together from the beginning of the Brooklyn location.
And that's not a problem. Why not just put her on the license?
He's qualifiable. No.
I know, but
Sorry.
she can't be, or whoever's signing the documents that's not on the license, they have to be either both or neither.
We're happy to file a corporate change, Chairman.
And put them together.
And put Daniel on the
Okay, that's
license. He's licensable. There's no disabilities.
And then if you could update that financial disclosure form.
I will do that, Chair.
Just to show that they're paid. And
Yes.
All right, what are your hours?
There are no restrictions on the hours of operation that I recall.
There's a difference between the backyard and indoor.
That's correct. There were
and
some.
Also, weekend is an hour later. It's
I'd have to look at the STIP, Commissioner.
I don't know what happened to last time.
What's your other place open till?
we sit the last guest at 10 o'clock until they finish. So usually by 11.
You don't have any limit on it by us though. It's 4 a.m. as far as you.
Right. Well, we'll never go.
I
that
know,
far.
but it doesn't. We didn't tell you when you had to close.
No.
Okay.
No, as far as I know.
Okay. So I'm gonna do recorded background music only. No security guards, principal to manage, and also a hired manager. 3 private events per year, no promoters. Backyard is 10 p.m. Overall is 2 a.m. across the board.
What, rather than doing a corporate chair, they can just file a personal question, we'll add.
Whatever you want.
Yeah, that'll be easier. It'll be a condition of approval then, just to submit a personal questionnaire, and we'll add the spouse as a principal.
But still to file a corporate change for the existing license in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
We'll do
but-
separately,
But for
yes.
this one here,
Yep,
and
yep.
then, so file that, and then file the amended financial disclosure form.
Sure.
I'll approve under the same conditions.
Commissioner Ford?
I approve of the same conditions as well. Good luck.
Can I take 2 minutes, Don?
All
Thank
right,
you.
Thank you. We're going to take a brief recess. We'll be back on the record shortly. All right, we're back on the record after a brief recess. Next is 1336 LaGuardia Liquors Corp.
Good morning, Robert Swetnick. I'm here with the principals, Manny and Robert. Basically, it's for a new retail license. If you look at the map that we've included, everything north of Astoria Boulevard is without a liquor license. These gentlemen have lived, raised in that area, live in that area. They own the building in which they want to put the liquor store now, or one of them does. and there are no other liquor stores there. Obviously, he has a laundromat in it now. He could have put anything into it, and they realize that the community would support a liquor store because there's just nothing close.
They're going to be non-bulletproof?
Yes. The store on Astoria Boulevard, which is the closest one, which is about 10 blocks away, supports traffic on Astoria Boulevard, people driving. It's not really people in the area. They feel that, again, they live and work in the area and have grown up there, that the area will support a liquor store. The other sales in the area reflect it, and they have chosen that as a business that they think is a good business for this neighborhood. And they have, believe me, spoken to all their neighbors, and their neighbors indicate that they would prefer another liquor store within that community. Again, if you look at the map, it's the...
I think we're ready.
Okay.
Pardon me?
Mr. Fan?
I'm going to vote to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Ford.
And you can give up your grocery license, but I'm not going to make that a condition of this.
Yeah. So the grocery store, basically, if this takes off, he's going to end up selling that.
It doesn't matter. I'm saying you can have both if you want.
I don't really see the numbers justifying it. However, that being said, I think that overriding that is public convenience and advantage, and I think the location that you chose meets that standard. So I'm going to vote to approve as well.
Thank you. I'm going to vote to approve. There's no protest. And based on the location, I think there is public convenience and advantage.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Next is 1291 Cypress Hills Wine and Liquor Corp.
Robert Swetnick again. What number again? Sorry.
1291.
Commissioners, this is one where several years ago, Cypress Hill applied. It's a very small space. I believe it's about 350 square feet. It's in what is now a garage. At that time, there was an objection because we had noted that there were a number of buildings going up in the immediate vicinity, including a block-long 14-story building right across the street. The commissioners stated at that point, well, these buildings are not up yet, and the need is not there. These buildings, we've given you pictures, are now up, and the need is there. The difference is all the other stores in the area are bulletproof. This is going to be a very small store, number one. It's going to be open to the public, number two. And you can see from the photos of the type of buildings, it's going to be I'll say, a changing community. The type of people that are going to be moving there, and I think that they would prefer an open store with a different selection of liquor rather than the several, I'll say, old bulletproof stores, which are their competition in the community.
He doesn't own this building, right?
He doesn't own it. His friend owns a building. It's a garage now, which...
Because I'm trying to figure out why he's obviously applied before.
Right.
Then sued us and lost.
No, we never sued.
No, well, it was filed. I don't know if they pulled it or not. And what I still don't see what's changed.
Well, it's changed. If you look at the pictures, there's one building, 14 stories, that's a block long right across the street. There's, I mean...
Yeah, but there's 8 stores within 15 blocks.
And they're all bulletproof, and it's 15 blocks, and there's people, this whole area has been developed now with new buildings.
But the development was pending the last time.
And you stated it's pending, and some of the ground has not even been broken, and come back when those buildings are up. That's what he's done. I mean, the buildings are up, they're being tenanted now. One is mixed use, the others are all residential. So there's, it's a very different, it's going to be a very different area, needed, we think, a different store. It's a very small store. Again, it's 350 square feet. It's not going to really take business away from the existing stores and those people. It's going to cater to these new residents. The only store that protested isn't there yet. Well, the only store that protested is not even a store. It's an application. So obviously they recognize that there's going to be hopefully potential new business in the area
because of all these buildings. But that's not even a licensee. No one else has protested.
How does he know the person who loaned him money?
He knows them through me. Mr. Tercey's previously done this for liquor license applications. If he meets the people, he thinks it's secure. He, is willing to do it. He gets I'll say, a high interest rate.
And part of that loan gives him the right for if there's non-payment, to file a lien against his receivables? What's the receivables of a liquor store?
He's going to have nothing. It's just a standard UCC. I mean, he's going to have none. He's not going to have
Right,
any.
he can't
Right,
have
I
a
agree, but it's a standard UCC that it's money in the bank, it's receivable, it's I mean, obviously, if there's a default, he knows that is not going to give him much solace.
And the landlord, you said that's his friend?
The landlord is the applicant's friend, which is why the space is still available. When you turn it,
aware of the name of the landlord?
do you remember his name?
Not his personal name, the company name.
I can look it up.
Well, it's just strange to me.
Eber and Southern is the
Eber
name,
and
yeah.
Southern.
And he used
Lester
to work
Eber
for,
was
he
an
used to work
executive
for-
at Southern.
Exactly, he used to be a salesperson at Southern.
So he named his company after Lester Eber?
Well, he used to work at both, so yeah, I guess.
So he's not a salesperson at Southern?
No, right now, no, he's not. He's out of the business, but he
Passed away a couple of years ago.
Yes,
So what he, basically, when you turned him down last time, he kept it as a garage all these years and is realizing he can get more rent and get the building improved. So he's still, and because it's his friend, he's saying, if they license you, you can have the building again. Again, I think, considering the number of new buildings and the small size of the store, it's going to be a great benefit to this new community. And the concern of the authority last time was that the buildings were not up. And again, the authority said, come back when they're up, which is exactly what he waited to do, and we're here.
Very curious about this.
Members ready to vote?
Yep, I am. And as you see, again, this applicant has extensive experience managing liquor stores, so he should be able to be fairly successful at this.
Commissioner Fan, if you're ready.
Where are those two liquor stores located that you were managing?
The previous one is on the upper west side, and right now is on the upper east side.
One is what, 95th?
You're going to keep managing the one? Or
No, I will be at this
solely at
location.
this place?
Yeah, when.
Okay, Donald, I guess we're ready.
All right, Commissioner Fan.
It's a very small open store. There's no protests. All the surrounding stores are bulletproof. I'm going to find public convenience and advantage and move vote to approve.
Thank you.
Commissioner Ford
I'm going to vote to approve on the same standards.
and Chairman Bradley.
I'm going to vote to approve as well. It's small. The only protest is by an applicant who hasn't come before the board yet, so that doesn't really count. And the surrounding stores are bulletproof, and provided he is not going to be bulletproof, I see public convenience and advantage. So I approve.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next is 1314 Swallow Montauk LLC.
Morning, Martin Mailer, Mailer Buscemi. This is a conditional no contest, and I ask that it be accepted.
I'll accept 2,500.
Commissioner Ford.
Accept.
Chairman
Accept.
Bradley.
Thank you.
Next is 1341 TRIBICHA Inc.
Before I go into the specifics of this application, I'd like to thank Deputy Commissioner Donahue for the proposed advisories. I don't think anybody sitting in the room is against any of what is being said here. And what's interesting about one of them, it reflects exactly what this is all about. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry. I'd like the licensee, the applicants to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Carolyn Bean. I'm
Let's
Sarah.
speak to the mic, please.
Yeah,
sorry. I'm Sarah Sanny. I'm Carolyn Bain.
They're currently licensed as restaurant wine operators. They have been around for 12 years. They have an exemplary record. They constantly find their way in the media. They were recently on Sunday Morning. Their pies are rated the greatest in the country. Their chicken is excellent. And as can be seen from the community board, they were approved for this upgrade to a full liquor license. They're closing 10 o'clock during the week. They're closing 11 o'clock on Friday and Saturday. They only have background music. But the issue to the community board was they had a blanket policy of saying no to every outdoor establishment, or the outdoor establishments that are being allowed through the New York City Department of Transportation. But if the advisory concerning that particular issue is resolved in favor of, if you are going to go along with the suggestion, then I wouldn't mind withdrawing any indication of an outdoor establishment and then filing it the way you wanted it filed.
First, just for clarification, because when I looked at this application, I was confused. There is this outdoor space behind.
No, I know what you're saying.
Is that the space you're talking about?
No. That space is currently, no. That space is currently licensed. It's always been licensed. I don't know why. I addressed it in a deficiency letter, but may I approach this issue?
I understood that it was just about open restaurants.
Yeah, that's all.
If you're working at home, that outside space will be part of the license.
Yeah, but it's always been, it's.
As far as this.
Yeah, yes. That has nothing.
I think right now the community boards are in a very, very difficult position in New York City, simply because it's clear that this is going to be permanent. It's been made clear that it's going to be permanent, but nobody knows what that is actually going to look like. We've been told it's not going to look like what it looks like now, but nobody knows what that means. So I think the community board, and I don't know what this community board is talking about or thinking about the open restaurants, but having been in contact with some, they just have no idea what to consider, and I have to admit I don't either, because right now we haven't seen anything.
I understand. I think the approach, if I understand it, is the proper one. What you're, I think, saying is that don't file with the outdoor area. Then once you get approved, show the liquor authority that you have the approval of the New York City Department of Transportation. And if in fact at some point the current method of operation, if you will, the current way it's being done, is changed in any way, you might have to come back with an alteration, which they're obviously prepared to do. There's nothing wrong with these two ladies.
My notes to myself were, got to define what the outdoor space is.
Well, the outdoor space is directly what's in front of them and on the street. That's what it is. It's just the outdoor program.
It's actually in the municipal space. Is that correct?
That's right. Right,
We're
yes.
not talking about the backyard.
No, the backyard.
That was the confusion I had, because the application, the way I read it, referring to the outdoor space and reference open restaurants, but there's actually two outdoor spaces.
Right.
Well, there's one that's always been there.
Okay, but
So
again,
is that
this
in
a
our
new
purview?
application.
No, I understand. I'm sorry if there was any confusion, but no, it has nothing to do with that backyard. It's labeled backyard, but there are walls on either side
But
of
the
it.
backyard is going to continue to be used.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So do we have the authority to rule on the
Yes.
municipal space?
Yes. You can rule on it, nobody gets it as of right.
We're talking about the outdoor space?
Yeah. They get it, what the city is saying is that it's permissible. And even if we say you can't have alcohol on it, they can still use it.
Right.
We can't do anything about that. But the city law doesn't override our ability to regulate it.
The problem that has come up,
It is open restaurants.
The-
This is what this is. It's open, why they're here is because the community board has a blanket disapproval of use of municipal space. in their area.
Is it municipal space or all?
no, it's just the municipal, they love this place. Everybody, I mean, there are over 100 petitions and, no, I am only talking about the municipal space. That's all we're talking about. The space on the sidewalk and in the street in front of the place.
We're not talking about parking spaces.
Yeah, we are. We're talking about parking spaces. That's where this is going to be.
What confused me was, I've had a few of these.
So hold on a minute, just so everybody's clear here. This is the open restaurants, which means you're allowed to be on the edge of the sidewalk and into the parking spaces.
Well, there's no, oh, you mean the street? Yeah.
The street, whatever it may be.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. But you're right, that's the only reason this is here.
No, I recognize that. And I think if the advisory had been approved already, I wouldn't be here because I would do what you want me to do and just apply indoor and then file the open sidewalk thing separately.
So my concern is with that open restaurant part though, is their proposal is to have more tables outside than they have inside.
But that's just the way it is. Look.
Well, I mean, really, when we allowed this during COVID, which is now morphed into something else, the purpose of it was to be in front of your building, and that's it.
Right.
Well, now it's gone into, well, if the neighbor says I can put them there, why can't I put them there? And that's what the city has allowed, and it's gone off the rails.
But
my feeling is it should still be in front of your building.
But it is, right? It's right on the corner. It has, Mr.
Well,
Chairman.
you sounded like they were going partly down the street.
No.
How many
If I
tables
may-
do you have inside?
Well, we have 40. It's changed a little bit recently because we had to be a little bit flexible. So we sort of donated part of our front seating to people picking up deliveries and stuff, so that traffic wasn't bothering diners. So right now it's actually smaller because it's just like the back areas.
So the only thing you're actually, inside your restaurant, the only thing you're actually seating people in is the backyard?
No, and then there's a garage beyond that.
If you want, you can see the diagram. I have it with me.
No, I have one.
They've got the diagram.
Okay.
But our outdoor space, when I was filling it out, I didn't want to get in trouble for having too few seats. So I sort of put like the maximum that we could have. So that includes the space that would be, if we had, what's it called, the license where you can have outdoor seating under normal circumstances.
No, your sidewalk cafe,
Right.
which
We
doesn't
can have a
exist today.
sidewalk cafe, so I included that, which is on the sidewalk. It's not all shed at all.
Oh, so you're still gonna use your sidewalk cafe?
We don't have it because you can't.
No,
apply
right, but I
for
mean,
it, but-
where you would put those tables is
Right.
what you're gonna use.
Yeah.
So it's not all gonna be on the street.
It's not
Some
all
of it's
on the
gonna be next to your building.
The shed is already built, and so the seating is on, the additional outdoor seating that's not in the shed is along this long side of the building and then directly in front of the entrance.
This is all a consequence.
The actual, let's forget about the open restaurant space. The actual licensed premises, you're not using all of it now? Is that-
No, we are. I'm just saying, like, in terms of our seating capacity.
Okay, right.
She
part of our
reserves
front-
some of the seats for people that are picking up to-go orders.
Yeah.
Right. And this is all the result of COVID. They wanted spirits because they needed the extra income, and then because this opportunity presented itself with the open restaurant program, they wanted that as well. They suffered severely, as did most restaurants during COVID.
I know, but you have to understand the community boards, the people live there, they're suffering now.
No, but that's the point. The petitions of over 100 people on the block or around the block. We're not talking other areas. And
Listen,
again,
I don't want to get in an argument with you. The bottom line is I don't know what caused them to have a blanket disapproval, but if somebody did, I can completely understand it. Because I took a cab through a street today on my way up here that the cab could barely fit on the street because there were sheds on both sides. So I understand that people have to live there.
I understand the dilemma, but everybody likes them.
No, they don't. I was in a room yesterday with, how many people were there? Every one of them despise it.
No, not the open program. I'm talking about them, this particular operator.
Sure they do, but that's how you get disliked.
No,
All right,
But we're ready, go ahead.
I'm gonna vote to approve upgrade to full OP.
Commissioner Ford?
I'll approve as well.
With
It's just as if whatever current service is just gonna be upgraded.
But what are the hours?
It's 10 o'clock during the week and 11 o'clock on
Both
Friday.
inside and outside?
Yes, yeah.
I'm gonna do 11 across the board.
All right, even better. We're not late night, we're not anything.
Chairman?
I'll agree as well.
I'll vote to approve as well.
Thank you very much.
Now,
Have a good
obviously,
day.
if this changes, the
I understand
they
that.
have to
File an alteration.
adjust. I don't know what it's gonna be.
I get it. Thank you.
Next is 1293 L Bar Loco Inc.
Good morning, Chairman. My name is Henry Warakomsky, and the applicant is with me. This is a new application for a restaurant use in Freeport.
You don't.
What?
I know it's a new application,
Yeah.
but there's things here that you need to address that you're not addressing. Do I have to walk you through them?
No, but
It's his second attempt here because he was denied the first time because of the adverse history
well,
that he's had,
well, the first
which
one,
is significant.
Well, the first one was filed by a different attorney, and she filed it mostly as a nightclub. He doesn't want a nightclub. He wants an Italian restaurant.
You're not answering the chairman's question. It's about his history.
What?
His history and the location.
I know
Well, just because he says he's going to be a restaurant, that convinced me that he's not going to be a nightclub because that clearly is what he wanted to be last time, but he was a restaurant.
Well, last time, right. But now he's not going to have any music or dancing or any cabaret.
Yeah, and he's also not going to have any employees.
Why is there still a stage and an audio booth? He's not having dancing.
And I have yet to see a restaurant of this size that runs with 4 employees, which is what's on the application.
He can't hire any more right now. He's got.
He's open right now?
No, he's not open. He's going to have more, but he can't. He can't hire anymore at this time.
Why?
Because he's got to get permission from the village
Getting permission for what?
for parking. That's the problem with the village, the parking.
Needs a 20 valet spaces, right?
He doesn't have enough parking spots with the village. So he has another attorney fighting it to get it changed.
Are they limiting his occupancy?
No, not really, no. They haven't. They haven't limited.
Okay, so if they're not limiting his occupancy, why is it only going to have 4 employees?
They're saying, what is it, they need 20 parking spots.
That's about the 40 players, but it's gonna be more than that. That's just a
He needs
start.
25 parking spots for the size of his space.
Yes. But he doesn't have 25, so he's.
So are they telling him he has to
Follow the-
decrease the occupancy of his place?
He's got to file a variance for the parking.
We're completely off base here. What I'm questioning and what makes no sense to me is he's going to open a restaurant. How many people are you going to have in this restaurant?
At least gotta be at least 10 people.
No, how many people are you how many customers fit in this place?
Oh, that's like, well, right now they say 114.
114.
Yes.
And you have on your application that you're going to have 4 employees, one of whom is the manager. So who's doing what? You have a bartender? Is the
No, that's
bartender
gonna
going to wait tables,
that's
cook,
gonna be like-
and clean the dishes?
No, they're gonna be at 10 employees.
But this is like, how do you hand an application in like this? This is why this takes so long. Why is his social security different in this application than it was in the previous one?
I don't know, I corrected it. I didn't file the first application, I don't know.
Well,
what
he's right next to you, ask him.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to it. No, but we corrected the social security in the deficiency.
But that doesn't explain why 2 applications were filed with different social security numbers. He signed them. He signed the personal questionnaire
Yeah.
with
what-
different numbers on them.
Then they weren't even close. Did you have somebody else's social security number previously?
No, just me.
Are the members ready to vote?
You have a eating place beer license now?
Yes.
Where, how far from that is this place?
Like 3 blocks away.
A block? You're gonna work at both places?
Excuse me?
You're gonna run both places?
No, one of my son and one of me.
What you have right now is what's the name of the place that you have right now? That's
Central America Cafe.
That only has a beer license, right?
That's only way.
That only has a beer license.
Do we have that one?
Yeah, it's on the top of the second page. It's licensed to him and his son.
He has very little to no adverse history there.
Okay, all right. That's what I was looking for.
All right, the members are ready to vote now. Commissioner Fan?
I'm going to vote to approve recorded background music only, no promoters. No private parties, 1 a.m. across the board.
Commissioner Ford?
I'm approving only because you have another place that doesn't have any problems, because this one right here could be here all day about this.
Chairman.
I'm going to vote to approve on the same conditions as Commissioner Fan.
Right. Chairman Bradley?
You realize the previous licenses here, 2 licenses, we revoked.
Which one? Like this one?
No,
that were at-
the previous people,
We revoked maybe less than 10 licenses a year. We revoked at this place twice.
Okay.
So my point being, you're gonna get a really short leash here. Because this place has been a major, major problem.
I heard about that, yes.
I'm gonna vote to approve on the same conditions.
all right, thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Next is 1319, METZ Catering NY LLC.
Good morning, Lindsay Farina from METZ Catering NY LLC. I'm here to discuss a request for a bathroom waiver.
Let's not discuss it. I'm granted bathroom waiver.
Oh, yeah, I vote to grant the bathroom waiver as
Is there a
well.
way to get these to not come?
That's on my list.
That's, okay.
You're good.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks. Sorry you had to come all this way and wait all this time for
No problem.
that highlight.
Next is 1337, DALI NYC LLC.
37.
Thomas Burke from the Law Office of Stacey L. Weiss. These are the applicants, Neil Santos and Jerry Santos. This is a 200-foot rule issue. There's a measurement from the entrance to the proposed location to a nearby church, which shows that there is an entrance 191 feet away. However, we have found out that this is not a regularly used entrance to give ingress to the general public into the church. It is in fact an emergency exit, and emergency exits are not used in the measurement for this
This
rule.
is an emergency exit for the church?
Yes.
Our information is it's a handicap access.
So they have a bar on it?
That I don't have. Do you have any information if there's a
Push
if
bar?
there's a fire door on it?
Is there a bar inside? But
No,
we,
there
ha-
isn't.
but we do have a letter from the pastor saying it's an emergency.
It's Commissioner Donahue.
There is a push bar inside and there's nothing else.
That's what I
So there is,
meant.
so we want that.
And there's no hardware on the outside.
There's no
Is there
hardware
hardware outside, on the outside the
No
door?
hardware
No.
on the outside. Just
All right.
It's not a door.
All right,
Okay,
so it's not 200
okay.
feet.
What number is this one?
1337. Is there a reason why you agreed to 9 p.m. on Sunday? Was that a specific discussion on the community board level about that, or?
Yeah, we just wanted to close at a decent time for the community, being that it's a Sunday. You know,
Okay.
So we were okay with just.
So you're
closing.
okay with that?
Yes, we are.
Okay. So I'm going to vote to approve with the following conditions. I'm gonna do midnight, Monday to Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 2 a.m., Sunday, 9 a.m. That's slightly different from what they entered into. Doors and windows will close by 10 p.m. Unamplified acoustic music. Oh, gosh. Really?
No, I don't care. That's
Yeah,
what
I
they're
know.
asking
I
for.
would just, I think they can have an acoustic, unamplified acoustic band whenever they want.
That would be amazing.
I'm just gonna leave that there because that other restriction is just too much.
What was the closing for Sunday that you?
Sunday, it's 9 p.m. That's what they agreed to. Friday, Saturday, 2 a.m., Monday to Thursday, midnight. And 3-piece unamplified acoustic band, anytime it's allowable. No private events, no promoters.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Commissioner Ford
I approve of the same stipulations.
and Chairman Bradley.
I approve as well, and you had one vocal critic, as I'm sure you're aware, I actually thought he would be here. I would do what you can to make sure he's happy.
Okay, we'll do
If that's possible.
We'll do Chairman Bradley.
All right,
The
and I'll
applic-
vote to approve as well with the same
The
condition.
application for the temporary was held up because of this. Will that go through now?
I don't know.
Presumably, yes.
Yes, assuming there's nothing else, the staff will get to it as reasonably soon as possible.
Not the temp, though, just this. You're not gonna get a temp, you're gonna get this.
Because there could be some conditions of approval that have to be met for this.
Oh, okay.
So in the
So you will
meantime-
get a temp.
Thank you very much.
And in all seriousness,
Below.
anything you can do to appease your neighbor
My neighbor,
would probably not be a bad
I
idea
haven't
for
had-
all of
I
us.
haven't had the pleasure of meeting him, but I'm still trying to look out for him.
Good.
Just introduce myself to him.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All
Have a
right.
great day.
Thank you.
Good luck.
So next is 1352E and 1352F, AVANT GARDNER LLC. Is it just a licensee here, or is it like a licensee end? Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Joe McClellan, on behalf of Avant Gardner with the General Manager, David Mitchell. Here before the board, seeking a reconsideration request of our conditional no contest plea. Specifically, we submitted a letter on August 16th stating we've significantly complied with the 4 provisions of the conditional no contest plea and are requesting one specific reconsideration as it relates to the continuing independent monitor relationship. Just a quick recap, we have complied.
Whoa. What relationship? Because based on the information I have, you severed it 3 weeks ago.
Correct, I would get to that exactly.
Why don't we start with that?
Sure, no problem. We've terminated the independent monitor relationship with T&M. The actions will be impending litigation.
So let me stop you there. Did you notify us that you did that?
We notified the SLA
After, not before.
immediately thereafter, sir. And we
You didn't notify us that you were thinking about it. You didn't notify us you were having problems with them. You just terminated them and then sent us a letter the next day. Correct? Talking about pending litigation, which this was 3 weeks ago, you still haven't filed it, have you?
Not yet,
Because
sir.
if you had, I'd like a copy of it.
Not yet, sir.
Because
but
what they did when you fired them was put together a report for us. Dozens of pages of what's been going on in there, which indicates to me why they were fired, because they were doing their job.
Chairman, specifically, we're not disputing that at the core of the reason they were hired. They did extensive monitoring. It's things they did above and beyond that.
Well, first of all, let's start with above and beyond. What do you think they were allowed to do? I don't want to hear what they did do. What do you think the monitoring agreement that we put as a part of your plea in place allowed them to do?
To inspect, to monitor, to audit, to review, to give assessments, to give feedback, to give advice.
So what didn't it allow them to do? Because based on the report, the stuff you were telling them they shouldn't be doing is part and parcel to any monitoring agreement that I have been involved in. Taking pictures, taking videos, asking for documents, not getting the documents, but asking for documents. This, and you guys picked them, I didn't pick them, but they ended up on the list that I gave you because of the reputation that they have. Their reputation is impeccable. And that's why they continued to be your monitor, because after you had already hired them as your security firm. That's why we continued to let them be your monitor. So if you're sitting here telling me that they broke an agreement, I would be shocked if that was true. And I don't, based on what they're telling us, they didn't break any agreement. You basically frustrated the process.
Your Honor, with all due respect.
I'm not an honor.
Or
My father
Chairman,
was a judge,
Chairman,
and
with
he's
all-
been
with-
dead a long time.
Chairman, with all due respect, considering we're in a public forum, I'm not here to disparage or.
Well, they disparaged you, and I don't see you complaining about it.
I have not
Because
been-
they actually put pictures with the comments.
We haven't been made aware of the report that was submitted. We've
Well, then
requested.
here, why don't we adjourn this so you can go home, read the entire thing like I spent my weekend doing, and explain it to me. Because they have pictures in here of customers doing cocaine. In your multiple, doing cocaine. They have conversations that they had with your security staff, picking up narcotics paraphernalia on the ground that your clients' employees were telling them, oh no, they're candy wrappers and things for earplugs. And I've been involved in narcotics prosecution. There's nothing else they could be. To the extent that this monitoring firm went and got the papers tested, and they all came back positive for either cocaine or whatever else was involved. And then your excuse that I'm getting from reading the report is, well, this is just part of the business. This is what happens at Webster Hall. This is what happens at other clubs. Well, you know, I've been here almost 8 years. Webster Hall was in here one time. One time, and that was probably over 6 years ago. To my knowledge, no one has died at Webster Hall, at least since I've been in this chair. And they have died at your place. And the fact of the matter is, my opinion, based on these monitoring reports, is that your clients could care less what people do in their establishment as long as they make money. They have people that they are frisking at the door, recovering narcotics from, putting them in a container that the monitor was not allowed to look at, and then letting them in. How is that good security? How is that best practices?
Chairman, if you allow me to go through, I can address.
No, I mean, if you haven't read this report, it's important to me that you do. So I'm going to adjourn this so that you can.
I'd respectfully request the opportunity, though, since we're here before the board, to go through all the great things that my client is doing.
That, you can't, because the bad things override whatever you could be doing. Great. It's excellent that you are charitable, and it's great that you're giving food away to the neighborhood. And it's great that there are politicians that are happy that you're there. We have just as many politicians calling us wishing that you weren't. So I want you to go back with your client and read this and tell me why you should still be open. Because you violated the condition of your license, which is to have a monitor. Because that was a condition we put on it. Then you fired, because you fired the monitor. They haven't had one for weeks now. And I have been called by some of the monitors you have attempted to hire. They're not even being informed that there was a monitor prior to them that was fired.
With Chairman, we actually, when we reached out in advance, we did not want to disclose. We have updated then that there was a monitoring requirement. We've reached out to the SLA by letter on August 19th, stating we had identified 2 monitors. We're expeditiously and voluntarily stating that we're willing to toll any period of the gap of when we've terminated T&M to complete the year that we have agreed to, we're totally willing to do that. We're here before.
I think that would be my expectation at a minimum to keep you open, but I don't want to discuss this until you've read this. So I'm going to adjourn this for 2 weeks. I hope you have a monitor by then. And I want you, for every politician that has sent a letter in support, I would like you to send that to them as well. You can take mine if you want.
9:14.
Commissioner Ford, you okay with it?
That's fine.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming.
Next is 1292, Fine Food and Spirits, Inc.
Said 1292, Don?
1292.
Hello.
I'm okay with this. Are you okay?
Yes.
Okay.
You can just introduce yourself for the record also.
Michael Dalloway, Fine Food and Spirits.
So, just in the interest of time, I'm going to vote to approve, including all the community board stipulations, background music only, doors and windows closed by 10 p.m., that you will have a supervision plan as written, 4 a.m. Thursday to Saturday, 3 a.m. Monday to Wednesday, 2 a.m. on Sundays. No security, no private events, no promoters.
Well,
Oh, he said that he will have.
In your method of operation, you said there would be security.
If necessary.
But then in your public interest questionnaire, you said no. So which one?
Well, it was if necessary.
So I'll say security guard does needed. Principal to manage. That's it. Thank you.
Commissioner Ford?
I approve under the same stip.
I approve under the same stipulations as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is 1294, Maribella Sports Bar Corp.
1294.
1294.
Hi, good afternoon.
Oh. I went out until 4 a.m. for the first time in like 12 years.
Sorry, if you can just kind of introduce yourselves for the record.
Can you introduce yourself? I did not.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Hector Tirado from Tirado and Associates, and we're here to represent Maribella Sports Bar. And we have the principal here with us, so he can answer the questions that you have.
Okay, who's the principal?
Also with me? Oh, the principal?
He's the principal.
Yes.
Okay, and you are?
My name is Heidi Palmer, and I work for Tirado and Associates.
And who's that?
We're the firm representative.
You're the law firm?
Yes.
Okay, got it. So, who's Maribella?
She's the one who sold
Speak
me
to the mic,
She's what?
Don't touch it, just have him speak to it. Go ahead, sir.
She's the one who sold me the place.
She's the one who sold you the place?
Yes.
Okay.
And you don't live here, correct?
No.
You gotta go in the microphone.
No.
Where do you live?
I live in Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Where?
Allentown, Pennsylvania.
And you have a trucking company?
Yes.
You're gonna continue to run the trucking company?
Yes, because I don't have to be physically in there. I run it like by application.
She's not involved in this place, Maribel?
No.
You know her? Are you friends with her?
I know her.
Are keeping the name?
Why are you keeping the same name?
Because like it's like how do I say, like popular name, so everybody know the name.
How did you find this place?
What do you mean?
Like, how did you get introduced to Maribella, and how did you decide to buy this business?
Yeah, before I used to have like one restaurant on Macomb Road.
You used to have a restaurant?
Yes, like yeah.
Where's that?
On Macombs.
In where?
Macombs Road.
Back home.
Macombs.
Macombs Road.
Macomb Road, yes.
He was on this.
Oh,
license.
Macombs Road.
Yes.
Okay,
He was on
got
this-
it.
I think you were taken off in 2020.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. And then what?
Then that's like how I met them.
That's how you met her?
Yeah, like
So I guess my next question is, this is your third application at this location. We've denied 2. And the two denials didn't really have anything to do with you. They had to do with our concern that she was involved. Why? Why are you applying for this? Why does it have to be here?
You said why it had to be here?
Why at this location? Why can't you probably wouldn't have a problem if you went to a location down the street and said, I want to open a sports bar there. Why this sports bar?
Yeah, I'm sorry. He wants me to explain it for him. So he's saying that the location is a good location for business, and he has also remodeled the business. So he has already invested money into the business. So it's hard for him to move to another location because his investment is there. As soon as he took over the business, he started fixing everything up.
Which was how long ago?
That was about a year ago, right? Yes. About a year ago.
When is his first application of this thing?
So the first one for this entity was in 2018. And there was a second one in 2019. But Maribel was on one or more of those. Let me just double check.
I don't know. I don't
Was the lease
understand
signed in
what's going on
2019?
What was it? We signed 19, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've been paying rent
19.
all that time?
19
Yeah.
to 20?
19 to 20.
Is he open right now without?
No, he's not open. No, the place is currently closed pending the license.
So Maribel was on the first one that was disapproved.
So you guys were going to be partners before?
No, there's no partnership. The reason why Maribel sold to him is because she wasn't able to hold a license in that location. So she figured that the best possibility choice for her was to sell the business.
The first one was Maribel. The second one was you and somebody else. Solano?
On Solano.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah, he has 2 last names.
Oh, you know what, they
Yeah, it's popular in our country to use 2 last names.
I got 2 meters.
So you're on the second one, she was on the first one, he was on the second one that was disapproved, and now he's on his own first one as well. So she sold you the business between the first application and the second.
Correct. Correct.
All right.
I remember this one.
I'm ready, Donald. I don't know what they
Are you like, is this place like, maybe like one store from the corner of an intersection?
There's like on the side.
Speaking to Mike.
On the side there, yes. There's like a corner, like
There's a deli there,
store.
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then you,
And you're next to the deli.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Commissioner Fan?
I'm going to vote yes on reconsideration and yes on issuing the license, 1 a.m. across the board, background music only, no private events, no promoters, no DJs, no dancing. You can come back for more hours in a year.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Ford?
I'm going to vote to approve as well.
And then,
I'll vote to approve as well under the same conditions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
and everyone recon, right? Granted.
And granted
reconsider-
recon, yes.
Yes. All right, pulling up 1281, Copa's Bar Lounge Corp. $12.81 Copa's Bar Lounge. Was your client here, Mr. Pillillo?
I signed in for this case, but I was texted and told that my services were not required.
It's
So-
our fault.
They may be here on their own, or
Because I had someone, I was told that
How
they
could
needed
they-
an interpreter, but,
that may be.
How would they know? Would you notify them?
oh, they might be over here.
I'm not involved in this.
No pro bono?
No, sir. What is that again?
What is
that?
I don't know if
Italian.
Nikki wants to.
They're the one for the interpreters.
So-
They don't speak. They were asking for an interpreter. So
Yeah. So just, yeah, we're probably gonna need to adjourn this anyway because we had,
Just adjourn it. They need, if they ask for an interpreter, they have to have an interpreter.
we had one that didn't show up today, so.
Okay.
Yeah, 9:14.
Nikki? Someone that can speak, so September 14th, if you're September 14th.
Okay, understand.
Just let them know that they have to come back September 14th and we'll get an interpreter.
Ah, ok. So para septiembre 14, ellos le van a traer un intérprete, tiene que regresar esa fecha, ok?
We're okay with one of our employees doing it.
Thank you.
That's helpful.
That's helpful.
Yeah. Thank you. Next is 1338, 433 Main Street.
I think that's Fathoms Hospitality? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Morning, Board. Thank you for
sorry.
giving us the opportunity to clarify our documents. We were here a few weeks ago.
Right, we got new diagrams.
And are you okay with that?
No, the problem I see is that this is a tavern, and you've got guest rooms surrounded by the licensed areas. So they, so this is a tavern, the tavern liquor license can't have access, interior access to unlicensed areas. And these are.
Well, what did we do last time?
I don't know what the heck happened last time. I'm editing my comments. I don't know how this got licensed, unless there was some misunderstanding back then about what was being licensed. But I don't, there are, if you look at the maps, because we got color copies of them, the guest rooms are literally surrounded by the licensed areas, and they access the licensed areas.
So can we just give him
Why
a hotel
can't we
license?
license the entire rooms?
Under a tavern license?
Yeah. Whether they use it or not, why can't we just say they're part of the licensed premise?
Okay, well.
Like a hotel.
Well, you don't get the hotel privileges.
No.
But you then, that means that whatever happens in the hotel, in the rooms, they're responsible for.
As far as we're concerned.
Yeah.
That's okay.
If anything.
I'm fine with that too.
Yeah.
If there's
All right,
after
so-
hour consumption or.
All right, so we're gonna vote on this
Anything.
today. I'm not making this guy come back. The diagram, I need you to put assuming this gets approved, I need you to put in an adjusted diagram that shows all the rooms are part of the licensed premise.
No problem.
All right.
Commissioner Van?
I'll vote to approve as chairman wants it.
Commissioner Ford?
Hey, I think it looks like a really nice place.
Thank you.
I'm gonna put it on my list of places to hit up soon.
You're welcome to come down and see it.
Yeah.
Don't do anything in the rooms.
Hey, it's gonna be licensed by then, so, I approve as well.
Chairman Rath?
That I'll approve as well. So
Thank-
just make that, one of your conditions is gonna be to have that new diagram.
We'll
So
send
have
it
your
over to you.
attorney do
Thank
that,
you very
'cause
much.
They won't give you the license till that diagram is done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Even Mike's shaking his head on this one.
Next is
If we
1330.
hadn't done it before, I get it, but these guys bought this, they bought this place thinking they could get it licensed.
Yeah, but
1332 La Sabrosura, One Restaurant Corp.
That's in that law, it should be changed, and it hasn't been changed.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Hector Tirado from Tirado Associates, and with me is the Principal Yocasta.
What number again is this?
It's 1332.
Hello.
Hi, how are you doing?
Hi.
Just has a DJ request. So your investment is showing only $5,052, but your rent is $5,000. So is there a updated set of financial disclosures that you can send us?
Or are you open right now?
She's currently open right now, but we can amend that financial statement for her as well. if
Tom, do I
necessary.
need to not do this? I shut this place.
Were you, did you visit the place?
Yeah, I would suggest, I'll defer to Mike, but I think you should recuse.
And she owned it.
I would defer to Mike, but
Yeah, I'm going to do it out of caution. I'm recused. I was part of the team that was part of the summary suspension during COVID of this location, and she owned it at the time. Correct? You owned it?
Yes.
And so what happened? That license got
shut.
What happened? You just closed the place? You canceled?
Yeah, we closed it, and then the renewal expired because the corporation did not exist, which had nothing to do with the summary.
No, I want to change because I want to have my new corporate by myself. Because I bought, it was another person, the owner, when I bought that. And then I asked her what she thinks I'm correct at the time I want to change it and growing my own corporate.
So now you have a corporation that just you're the member of?
Correct.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it says here that the prior licensee's method of operation was 12 a.m. closing, jukebox, no dancing. Is that as a result of a summary suspension from COVID related, or was that actually their hours?
No, that was their.
That was their
method of operation.
That was their method of operation.
Your total investment was only 5,000, your monthly rent is 5,000.
That's what happens when they're open already. They tend to not give you what it costs to open the restaurant, even though they probably should.
I took a couple of loans. Still I'm paying right now because it's a hard time for me, but I'm continuous.
All right, I'm gonna approve midnight across the board, no security, principal to manage, recorded background music only, no private events, no promoters, no dancing. I'm okay with the bathroom waiver. Midnight across the board.
Commissioner Ford?
I'll approve under the same circumstances.
All right. You've been approved.
Good luck. Good luck.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next is 1297. That's a Bases Loaded Sports Bar, Inc.
That last one, the community board didn't provide any steps. They voted to approve it, but no steps.
They tend not to.
What number is that again? I'm sorry, Don.
1297.
Can we just assume it's nice? For you with the asthma?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to dismiss this.
I'll dismiss it as well.
That was quick.
Can you put your name on the record just so we knew you were here?
Joseph Imperia, Bases Loaded Sports Bar.
All right. Thanks for coming.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
You'll get a letter. Yep.
Yes.
Just now got the sign-in sheet.
Sure.
We're going to go on a brief recess. We'll be back on the record shortly. All right, we're back on the record after a brief recess. Next is 1342 East Side Entertainment LLC.
1342.
1342, yep.
Good afternoon, Commissioner, Chairman, Commissioners. This is Joseph DeCristofaro, the applicant principal. My submission really lays out the case here. Joe is an experienced operator, found the location.
Here because of prior.
Exactly,
It's
exactly.
not him, right?
No, it's not Joseph at all. You knew nothing about it.
So I'm going to vote to approve with the following conditions. Recorded background music only, no dancing, no promoters, 12 private events a year,
So yes.
Yes.
2 a.m. across the board.
What are we doing with the occupancy?
You said you restricted 74, right?
That's what we plan on operating at. The certificate of occupancy does accommodate a larger total, but we're going to work with the totals that we provided.
Community board said.
Community board was 48-0.
Community board said 75.
Yes, 75.
Right, that's what he plans on operating, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but if he expands, he has the ability in the future, but we'll obviously be back.
I removed some seats to give space.
All right, thank you.
You know, this could have, there was no reason not to give this guy a 10, but he couldn't get one. All right.
We know that. That we do know. I know there was, yeah. That's it.
Thank you. Nice to meet all of you.
The law could be more helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're all set.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
that. Have a great long weekend.
Enjoy your rest of your day.
Thank you, you too.
Next is 1305 1259 Park LLC.
Good afternoon, Frank Palillo. You don't mind just
Alex Brown.
sort of in compromise.
How do we end up here? Do you have any idea?
I drove.
We just got a text that your services are no longer needed.
What do you mean, how do we, I mean?
No, I mean, because there's nothing here that I would see that would generate a complaint. I'm wondering how our guys ended up in there.
Oh, I don't know.
It's, I mean, it's possible. I have the same address as the bar next to me. So I don't know. That's come into complications before. The place next to me, we both have the store.
What's the place next to you?
It's called Earl's Beer and Cheese.
Does he have like live music or something, or?
No, but they have speakers outside under their
Oh,
awning
that's probably it
sometimes.
then. Okay.
So.
It looks like it was a visit from the task force.
Yeah, there was.
COVID task force.
Oh, okay, then that was random then. All right.
I personally I thought the number was too high, to be honest.
I'll do 5,000.
5,000.
Commissioner Fan?
Yeah, 5,000 is good.
Thank you, enjoy the weekend.
Thank you too.
Thank you, you too.
Next is 1339. That's HLYYA Corporation.
April 21? Oh, yeah.
Good morning, members of the authority. Aurelia Tavares, the representative for HYLLA or HLL. Hold on, I'll get it exactly right. HLYYA Corporation. I'm requesting an adjournment on this.
Can you bring both of them?
Yes, the husband and the wife, correct.
9:40.
Sure. And then I just wanted to add.
What's the third adjournment? What's the issue though?
The attorney abandoned this matter and she came here, but we were calling the attorney to try to help her. And then she showed up at my office yesterday and I'm like, let's see what I can do. But, I don't have enough information to help you.
Are you going to need an interpreter?
I am, please.
Okay.
And then I just wanted to say that thank you for the changes and the advisories of the authority. Chairman Bradley, the changes are commendable. The only thing I would ask is that 2-year requirement be removed unless there's a problem at the location. The 2-year requirement for temp permits.
Change statute.
That's in the law, there's nothing we can do.
If it's in a statute, I don't have the ability to change it. So
Mm,
you can talk to the legislature. I'd be happy to change it if they would.
Yeah, and I hope you have more discretion, which it seems you have, so hopefully we can move these along. Thank you for all the changes.
What was the date on that? 9/14?
9/14, thank you, appreciate it.
Next is 1287, 3 Country LLC.
1287.
Good afternoon, Chairman Bradley, Commissioners Fan and Ford. My name is Riley Maud with the law firm of Helbron and Levy. I'm an associate attorney pending admission. This is the first time I'm appearing before you. We're here today for
Where's your boss?
Joseph. Joseph couldn't be here today. He,
Is that you soloing on your first solo?
that's it.
Tell him.
Trial by fire.
Sound real nice.
Yeah, will do.
So there's another message here. This is their third time having a DJ after they've been told 2 other times that you didn't apply for a DJ, you can't have a DJ. Obviously, it's costing them $10,000. The next time it's going to cost them their business.
Sure. So they've actually applied for the change in method of
Well,
operation.
that doesn't mean they're going to get one either.
No.
So they've been approved for it.
Oh, we already approved
Yeah.
Back in May of 2020, it was approved by the licensing board.
Okay, then you're all
So I
set.
can't give blame for that either.
No.
Thank you very much.
Accepted.
So they're not going to lose their license if they have a DJ.
So accepted.
Enjoy the weekend.
Right, okay. I think Max Bookman's still shattering his,
Yeah, those
and Phil
guys.
Dord. Next is 1313, CCA Holdings, Inc.
Good afternoon. My name is Benjamin Corngut. I'm the attorney for CCA Holdings, Inc. I have with me Jessica Gutierrez, who's a manager, and Michael Ladani, who also works at the premises. We submitted a detailed letter of mitigation. All of the charges have been remedied. A number of the charges related to FDNY violations, which have all been remedied. As for the SLA violations, none of the charges are still ongoing. They do not have DJs. All the taps have been labeled. There are no pre-mixed drinks. I would also note that in the charges, there are basically two dates of inspection. On the second one, all of the violations relate to very specific FDNY violations. So there were no DJs on the second inspection. There were no pre-mixed drinks, and there were no unlabeled taps.
Are they allowed to have promoted parties?
Let me go back and look at their application to see. But that would not necessarily be one of the things that would show up on the license itself.
2018?
Yeah. Oh, it was in the questionnaire back then.
Yeah, but it may or may not be.
But I'm not sure if even I might have to even go to a different database to find that app. Let me just see if I can get lucky here, if it's in here. Yeah, sure, here it is. No, the license application, it would take me a few minutes to find that. Because it's in a separate database, the application.
Okay.
I would also note that we have a pending change of method of operation pending.
To add promoters?
I
You know,
do.
it's to add DJ security and live music, but you already are approved for live music.
We're approved for a specific kind of live
Also, just
music.
general,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So it was basically to expand the types of live music. And finally, I'd note
Just
that
take a careful look at the promoted parties.
we will.
There's a
Oh,
very good
sorry,
vote.
that was-
Yeah.
Commissioner Ford?
I'll accept. Let's get on with life.
Thank you.
I'll go back and look at it.
I'll accept as well.
Someone.
Don't get caught again. Oh, that's.
Someone left
Give it
that?
to-
Yeah, give it to Jonathan or at the table, Bill.
Thank you.
I'll be back.
Thanks for coming.
Don't believe anyone else is here. Is that right, Jonathan? All right. Next is 1280 Speedway LLC. It's an offer of 6,500.
6,500.
Accept.
1283 and 84 is no contest default at hearing.
Cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
1285 is an offer of 6,000.
Accept.
Accept.
1295 is a request to extend conditional approval
Accept.
or approve.
$12.95.
It's gonna be, you wanna run 6 months from August 19th?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
no,
fine.
6 months from,
The 8/19, so that's,
We're good.
yep,
1298 is an offer of 1,000.
1,000.
1,000.
accept.
1299 is an offer of 1,000.
1,000.
1,000.
Commissioner Ford.
1,000.
1300 and 1301 is an offer of 6,000.
Accept.
Accept.
1302 is an offer of 3,000.
Accept 3,000.
Accept.
Commissioner
Accept.
Ford. 1303 is an offer of 5,000.
This is probably high. I would go to 3,500.
3,500.
3,500.
1304 is an offer of 9,000.
This should be 10,000.
10,000. Counter.
Counter at 10.
1306 is a no contest.
1,500.
1,500.
1,500.
1307 is an offer of 6,500.
This is a second sale, 18 years or older, but they've been licensed since 1988, so I'm going to go to 5,500.
5,500.
5,500.
1308 is an offer of 2,000.
2,000.
2,000 accept.
1309 is an offer of cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
1310 is an offer of 1,500.
1,500.
1,500.
1,500.
1311 is an offer of cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond. Accept.
1312 is a no contest default at pleading.
Cancel and bond.
1312.
1312, yes.
Because they have a lot of outstanding that's not paid.
And how, if they're in safekeeping on 1/14/22, how did we get them in March 18th of 22 with noise?
Yep.
Something not right there?
Oh, I think I looked. I think there's a
Typo?
No, I think there's a pending.
there's a pending
Pending
application with the ST that was issued.
But the ST was issued
Afterwards.
after that date, so I don't know who had control at that point.
Well, if it was in, they had to, because if the license plate's in safekeeping in January, how could the license in safekeeping violate the
Hold
noise
on.
ordinance in March?
So this violation should be on the application.
No, because it might be them. Hold on first. They may have been, let me go back and, let me go check here, see what's going on.
They could still have control of the premises even with their
Let's
license.
let's see
and
if they're,
safekeeping.
okay,
Either
so
way, I
that,
met
it was the
council.
police were there.
They can have control, but they can't serve alcohol.
Right. That's why I'm at cancel and bond.
Well, they may not have any alcohol. They may have just been having,
noise.
yeah.
Well, what party did you go to in a restaurant that just had no alcohol and noise?
Well, we don't know.
And I like to the police
Barbecues
report.
in Tom's backyard must be
The
roaring.
police report calls it prohibition, but both applications use prohibition as the name.
All right, well, we'll
You're
find
never
out.
being invited.
Cancel and bond. And
There's
we'll
not a
see what
safe,
happens.
not a safe lampshade in the house, is there, Tom?
Funny.
Commissioner Ford, cancel and bond.
Yes, cancel and bond.
1316 is an offer of 7,000.
I'm going to go to 5,000.
5,000.
5,000.
1318 is a new grocery store beer wine products license.
Vote to approve.
Yeah,
No, I'm good.
yeah,
She paid for the availing. I'll vote to approve.
approve as well.
1321 is a no contest plea.
I'm at 10,000.
10,000.
10,000.
1322 is an offer of revocation for the record.
Revoke for the record.
For the
1322,
record.
Yep, 1322.
we vote for the record.
1323 is a no contest default at pleading.
I'm at 7,500.
What number is that again? I'm sorry.
7,500.
1323.
I'll do 7,500.
Commissioner Ford.
7,500.
1324 is an offer of 6,500.
6,500.
6,500.
6,500.
1325 and 26 is an offer of cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
1327 is an offer of 3,000.
gonna counter at 10.
1327.
1327.
I would accept it only because it was like
Okay.
back in 2020.
That's fine.
I'll accept for the same reason, and the police said it doesn't appear to be a problem right now.
You accept, Commissioner Fan, or are you?
I'll accept.
Yep.
1328 and 29 is an offer of 3,500.
I'm gonna counter at 5,000.
5,000.
5,000.
1330 is an offer of 7,500.
I'm gonna counter at 12,000.
I actually want to call this guy in because this has got to be straightened out. Because he's catering and he's open to the public.
914.
And he's been told that twice now by investigators.
Yep.
All right. 1331 is a request to extend conditional approval.
I will extend the request to 8. Wait, we want February 21 of 23.
That's fine with me as well.
Me too.
All right. 1340, I received an email from John Springer. He's out of town and request adjourned to September 14th.
914.
Is that okay?
Yes,
Commissioner
914.
We go into the fun parts.
You want to explain every one of these before we vote on them?
Sure, okay, so the first one is 1343. So we've been requiring applicants who have, you're going to use a basement, mostly a basement, sometimes other adjacent space. I mean adjacent, I mean, you know, contiguous to the proposed licensed premises, to get a warehouse permit if they can't get to that space through the proposed licensed premises. What the licensing bureau is proposing is to, rather than require the separate permit, just let it be part of the licensed premises, as long as they can get to that space through either a public area or space that they already control. Upon reviewing this with Commissioner Fan's suggestion, I would add in that first part of the advisory, the applicant licensee intends to use the adjacent space such as an adjacent space controlled by the licensee, to make clear that it's the licensee's space, it's not shared space or anything else.
Okay.
Can we go through each one before you?
No, we can vote on this one.
Okay.
Commissioner Fan?
Yes, I vote to adopt this advisory as our agency's regulation.
I will vote to adopt it as well.
Oh.
With Tom's change, or Commissioner Fan's change.
All right, the second one has to do with actually what Mr. Veras was mentioning. There's with respect to eligibility for ST permits in New York City, for the 500-foot law, there is a 2-year look back as far as to see if a license has been licensed or canceled or revoked within those 2 years. What we've been doing informally in licensing, and would like the members to sign off on, is that we use the date, using our current system of applications going to the lockbox, use the date that the application gets there and the check is cashed as the date, okay? Because the applicant should not necessarily be penalized because we may be delayed by the time we get it into our system. Now, we will have that date from the bank, so we'll know what to do. And with the understanding that when our systems change, if we stop using the lockbox and LEAP allows for direct payments to us, we'll have to tweak the advisory a little bit as far as when that date is. But right now, we're suggesting the date that it gets to the lockbox.
Correct.
Commissioner Fan?
Yes, I'm going to vote to adopt the advisory as drafted.
As I.
And Chairman Bradley.
I'll vote to adopt it as well.
The next one has to do with 500-foot reports. We often get ALJs who say, I would have found in favor, but this is an example, but the applicant said there was a community board stipulation, but never gave it to us. Or I would have approved, but for something else being submitted. Because of that, there's an unfavorable ALJ decision, and the application has to go to the full board. What we're proposing, and we're throwing tweaks since with this, is that this calls for the Deputy Commissioner of Licensing to essentially have an ability to override that decision. It's been suggested that perhaps it really should be the supervisor of the hearing bureau to get away from any question of bias about it. Now, as a practical matter, right now, that's the same person, but at some point that won't be.
And why would you, not you, but why would someone in your position even have a bias about it? I mean, you're technically not allowed to have a bias about an application.
As a deputy commissioner, yeah, but I do decide if applications should be approved or denied at the licensing board level, okay? So I could understand how there might be a perception that since the decision is with the hearing bureau, I can understand the argument that it might be more appropriate to have the supervisor of the hearing bureau do that sign off.
Okay.
Commissioner Fan?
Yes, and I'm going to vote to approve this advisory with the head of the hearing bureau with the power to change the 500-foot hearing decision. Be suggested by licensing, but it needs to be signed off by the head of the hearing bureau.
I will do the same.
The next one has to.
Sorry. I'll do the same, yep.
The next one is just in response to questions we've been getting about eligibility for temporary retail permits. So a manufacturer is eligible to have an on-premises license, or most manufacturers at their licensed premises. Those who have branch offices, the farm licensees, the law states they have the same privileges as their manufacturing location. So we've been advising people, if you have a branch office, you can have an on-premises license there as well. That's one of the privileges you can have at your manufacturing site. However, the problem is this. Now that we have temporary manufacturing licenses, applicants are saying, okay, I also want a temporary for my on-premises license there. Licensing Bureau doesn't see an issue with that we can issue both temporaries because, they are temporary in nature and it's a privilege of the manufacturing license. However, when it comes to the branch offices, there is no temporary branch office permit. So our position is you have to wait till that permit's issued before you can get the temporary for the retail license. The reason being is that if we issue the temporary for the retail license, that becomes a tight house issue because you have a standalone retail operation. So our view would be to make that distinction that's explained in this advisory. You can get the temporary retail with your temporary manufacturing license, but if you have a branch office, you have to wait till that permit gets issued.
Okay.
Because there is no temporary permit for a branch office.
No, I get that,
Yeah.
but why would there be, where's the tight house?
Because you're gonna have a standalone on-premises retail business that's not connected.
Which is what? That
So
would be the branch office?
at the branch
you're saying?
office, right? I don't have the permit yet, but I have an on-premises operation there. That's technically a tight house
Because you
violation.
can't, so we need to change, or not we, but the legislature needs to change, they need to get a temp for a branch office.
Well, yes, and I mean, we're getting those issued much faster than the
do we
manufacturing
get a year?
license. We get enough that people, it's an opportunity that more and more people are taking advantage of.
So we should just get the temp. If they're giving one for the manufacturer, they would give one for the branch office.
Commissioner Fan?
Yeah, I'll vote to approve that as it is.
I agree, I vote to approve as well.
All right, the next one is regarding the closest stores, closest package stores. So the delegation of power says that if, even on a neighborhood removal, which is, I think, is it 250 feet in New York and 1,500 feet outside New York, that licensing can take care of it unless there's been either a change in the four closest stores or an increase of more than 25% in the size of the store. The problem is deciding what you guys meant by, not you guys, but your predecessors, meant by closest stores. We've had applications come where licensing has viewed it as the stores that were the closest, if 20 years ago when the application was first, the license was first issued. We're proposing to say, you look at the snapshot when the removal was filed. Who are the licensees' current stores now, and are there going to be a change of those? And if there's a change, then that triggers it going to the full board. And that means that not just the licensing, but if the locations are still licensed like they were, and nothing's going to change, then the licensing board can act on it.
Only if the 4 closest stores have actually physically changed.
Yes.
Okay.
So that are going to change. So in other words, I have A, B, C, D with me right now. I'm moving 3 blocks away.
Right.
But those are still my 4 closest stores. Or one of them is going to change. And that's what would trigger going to the full board. Rather than looking at something that happened 20 years ago.
Yep. I would agree to that.
Commissioner Fan?
Yes, I'm okay with that.
I am as well.
All right, so, yes.
I had a note here to myself, and this is just a sidebar maybe, but what about clarifying notifications sent out to the 4 closest stores so they don't think it's a new store? How do we fix that?
That's something I need to fix.
Okay.
And I know what you mean is that licensees get these things they use a standard letter. And people don't realize it's not a new store, it's somebody moving.
Right.
So I need to go back to my staff and tweak that letter.
Yeah, because I think it wastes your time and their time too, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Just,
Mhm.
And gets them all concerned about something that's nothing.
And the problem is that it then triggers a number of other issues that,
Yeah,
So
okay, good.
the next advisory is about co-licensees. So the law doesn't talk about co-licensees, talks about we license individuals, partners, corporations, LLCs. But as a matter of practice, licensing for years, when managers are added to a license, because they're getting they're getting a percentage, they've been referred to as co-licensees. We don't require a partnership agreement. We don't require them to be on the lease and so forth. That was emphasized when you issued that third-party provider advisory, which uses the reference to co-licensees. If we wanted to strictly follow the ABC law, we can't have co-licensees. We have to have them licensed as partners, which then creates burdens for the applicants. They have to have a partnership agreement. They got to get those people licensed put on the leases and so forth. This is just saying, yes, we have co-licensees, and these are the ground rules. They'll be vetted as any other applicant would. They're going to be responsible for the same violations, but we're not going to require, if they're only on it because of the percentage that they're getting, we're not going to require them to be on the lease and so forth.
And it's only in the context of the third party.
Yes, it would be only that, yes.
Okay.
Right.
All right. So I'm going to vote in the affirmative.
Okay.
As I.
As am I.
All right, next one is regarding the use of outdoor space, and we discussed this earlier with, I think, Mr. Mailer about the use of outdoor space. So the draft I gave you kind of outlines how we're proposing to deal with it. The only thing I would do is to make clear on the bottom of this, we talked about any licensee has a condition of the license prohibiting the use of outdoor space has to then file a method of operation, even if they want to use the open restaurants program. Based on the meeting we had at the community board yesterday, I would suggest you make clear that what we're talking about is not an applicant who submitted a form saying, I'm not using outdoor space. We're talking about applicants who either have a community board stipulation that they submitted to us saying no outdoor space, or that the members affirmatively said you can't have outdoor space. And those licensees would have to come to the members or come with a method of operation request. Otherwise, all they need to do is follow the process for the open restaurants program. Doesn't have to be in the license, it's a separate area.
And then as new licenses come in and want to use the pending open restaurants program, we can regulate them
Right,
as we see.
so if we got an application and the stipulation, a community board stipulation said no outdoor space, or it came to you and you said no outdoor space, they're stuck with that. They can't use the open restaurants.
But that would lead it to come here, right? The community board
Unless-
says
well, no.
no open restaurants.
Unless they agree to it.
No, I'm saying,
Yeah.
if they said no and the applicant said we want it.
It's
they-
coming, yeah, it's coming to you, yeah.
Yep, okay.
All right, I'll
Commissioner.
vote to approve.
Okay, I will vote to approve.
Vote to approve.
With the clarification that Tom described.
Do we want to put that clarification in it?
I'm suggesting that I'll, and of course, you sign off on the final draft, so I will propose,
Well, you can send all these. to
yeah,
all
we'll go to
three.
Donald and then he'll send to you.
Not just to me, Donald, all three.
Okay. The next one is just the statement of area plan. It's for the 200-foot law, but we make every on-premises licensee file it. It was explained to me by staff why we ask for that, but I think it's a needless document to be requesting somebody who has a beer or a wine license. They're not, it doesn't apply to them, so why make them file the paperwork?
Right.
Yep,
Okay.
I like it.
I'll vote to adopt it.
I vote to adopt as well.
Next one is about the finances. Most of the applications we get, the finances aren't an issue. They're explained in the financial disclosure form, but we still make people submit bank records and so forth. What we're proposing is that we have them fill out that form and submit it to us, but not mandate the submission of the bank records. The examiner will look at it, and if there is an issue, demand further records, but not require it from every application. So for example, you have somebody saying, I'm going to invest $100,000 and their personal questionnaire has them unemployed for the last 5 years. We're going to question that, right? But if they've been employed and they're using their funds, which are disclosed in a financial disclosure form, is it necessary for us to say, okay, we still need 3 months of bank records? Mandatory.
Right.
All right. Now, is there some risk there? Yes.
And that gets handled on the enforcement side, should it ever come up. Very sternly, I would imagine.
Commissioner Fan?
Yes, I'm going to vote in affirmative to adopt this advisory draft.
I'm going to vote to adopt it as well.
I vote to adopt as well. Yeah.
All right, the next one is about who we want the information for. So right now, we need officers, directors. First, if it's an individual, the individual, the partners. But for corporations and LLCs, we want the officers, directors, and then the owners.
You're specifically talking about personal questionnaires.
Yes, personal questionnaires and then the fingerprints.
Okay.
So, and then who's actually disclosed on that what is now the second page of the application. There is an exception if the corporation or the LLC has more than 10 equity owners. We only get those who have 10%. As a matter of practice, because the law doesn't address holding companies, what we've done, at least going back 15 years or so, is we go beyond what's disclosed on the application, and we say, we want the people. And we look for people beyond the initial holding companies to see who has an interest. And we use that same guideline. If there's more than 10 people, we want whoever has 10%. If there's less than 10, if it turns out there's holding company after holding company, and there's 3 people way up here, the law doesn't require that, but we can require that, so we find out who they are. So this kind of incorporates that into the what we're going to be looking for. We're going to be looking for only the officers, no longer the directors, and just the people who own 10% or more, directly or indirectly, of the licensed entity.
This issue alone creates hundreds of deficiencies a year.
I can tell you that just in
Everyone is wrong,
Just in the
probably.
8 months I've been with licensing, with 10, there are 9 stockholders, and one person who has a 2% interest, can't get fingerprinted, or they're having trouble with the personal questionnaire, it slows things down. And, the question to you is, as a board, is do you think we need to get that information? Do we really need it, or can we go with the people who have 10%, the people really controlling things?
So with the 10% is,
Yeah, I'm voting for the.
I agree.
The next one has to do with the diagrams. Right now, the diagrams have to show the tables and chairs. And we have examiners who, because of that, will send diagrams back saying, you're deficient. You have to show everything else, but and I'm not faulting the examiner.
No.
They're doing what they're supposed to be doing.
right.
So what I'm suggesting is we ask that question in the establishment questionnaire. We ask for number of tables, number of chairs.
Yeah.
So we should be able to eliminate that from the diagrams. We still need the main stuff. We need to know where the bar is. We need to know if you have a stage, a DJ booth, things like that.
Right.
All right?
But tables can be moved
Right.
around and.
Yeah.
And they always are, and our
and we don't-
investigators don't go in and ever charge anybody based on tables.
Right.
Okay, yeah, let's get rid of
And
that.
there's some other, we don't necessarily need to know
These
maybe where your
diagrams,
sinks are.
these diagrams, their main use is when our investigators are visiting a place, they print the diagram out
Right.
and go, oh, that DJ booth isn't on your diagram.
Or now there's a door and there's a deck in the backyard or something.
Right.
Or
What
or
about
when they go
capacity?
in there
I mean,
operating as
you're
a
not
nightclub,
concerned
move
about
the
capacity.
tables.
Well,
Right, yeah.
they have to ask, that's a question on the method of operation, or the establishment
You're
question.
comfortable with
Rid of this.
them writing a number in?
Well, the number, they're bound by that number. And then that gets also into the issue of certificates of occupancy and so forth. The next one,
Did everyone approve, adopt it?
I'm gonna vote to approve.
I am as well.
With an emphatic yes.
I mean, and here's the theme of all these for the other two commissioners. A lot of the stuff that, first of all, we as a board have the power to do all this without changing statute. The law itself gives us this power. Second, a lot of the stuff in the law is basically the SLA checking on, or performing, I should say, enforcement operations for other agencies. And that's great. And even though these other agencies all have their own enforcement arm, and I get it's probably helpful to them as well that we do that, but it's also creating a lot of work and deficiencies that create more time on these applications that, a lot of times, like we talked about their certificate of occupancy, really that's a local government issue. And if the coffee shop next door is going to be allowed to operate without a certificate of occupancy, why should we be the one to tell a restaurant they can't? That's the way that Tom, Sharif, and I have talked about this.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Tom.
okay, the next one has to do with the review of the deeds, leases. So when I first started here, I remember our examiners went through page by page the leases and would find issues with them. The lease says it's for a bookstore, but you could have a package store. The lease says you can't have alcoholic beverages. From my point of view, that's between the landlord and the tenant. If the landlord's going to issue you a lease knowing you're going to be a package store or a restaurant, even though the lease says no alcoholic beverages, that's for them to sort out. We are concerned about percentages, making sure there's no percentages and that runs the length of the
And that the applicant is the leasehold.
Right. So what we're proposing is that, they will have to file, and the right to premises form requires, and I got to edit this because it suggests that the form doesn't require it now, but it does. That's going to be something done in the future. But the current form now requires those percentages to be disclosed, and that it runs for the term. What we're just saying is we'll require the submission of the deed, the lease, but we're not going to be reviewing it. Okay? You're making a representation in that form, and if you misrepresent something, you'll be dealing with counsel's office.
That was my question. So you're giving them the benefit of the doubt up front, but they're still held liable to everything that they're supposed to be.
Yes, and if it turns out that there is a percentage clause in there, and it's discovered, the matter will be referred to, first to enforcement and then to counsel's office.
Right.
You know, and if they haven't followed the step that's created in that third-party advisory about filling out those forms, then they're gonna have a problem.
Right.
And when will the new right to premise
Well,
form?
the current one would suffice for now, but
Okay.
we'll update it to clear out anything that's not really necessary, as quickly as we can.
Okay. And just as a practical matter, I know that we talked about this in the very beginning of this, is like, don't expect changes right away, but when can these all be
Right.
implemented?
Well,
and
yeah, they'll
how
be, most of them will be implemented right away once I discuss with staff as far as, stop looking for this. If you have a deficiency, don't ask for the personal questionnaire of the 1.2% stockholder. And then we'll get the forms revised as quickly as possible. We're fortunate now that we have somebody in-house who can do that work for us. We don't have to wait to have it, somebody in IT do it for us.
do the form.
Right,
Yeah.
Josh Hellick can do this kind of stuff for us.
cool.
Along with Amy Mail, who's good at editing forms and whatnot.
Josh does that?
Yes.
Cool.
He's multi-talented.
Oh, no, I know that. Also a former hockey announcer.
Got a picture with Gretzky. Yeah. Commissioner Fan?
Yes, I'm gonna vote to approve.
Commissioner
Vote to
Ford?
approve as well.
Chairman Bradley?
Next is our landlord identification form. One of the things on it is that it asks for the licensing history of the landlord. Applicants don't always know that. They have to come to us, make a FOIA request to get that. It's something we can find out ourselves.
Yeah, not only that, we don't really care.
Well, we do in some cases, like, there's a prior cancellation, when the landlord is the prior licensee who got canceled, all right? So we're not gonna, with the current form, we're not gonna treat it as a deficiency if it's not completed. We'll get the new form out, which will have that question taken out. It's also gonna take out a question about whether or not the landlord is a police officer, because that's not relevant. You've said the full board has history saying leases are not a licensable interest, so it doesn't matter if you're a police officer.
Commissioner Fan?
Yes, I'm going to vote in the affirmative to lower the requirement of what's on the landlord form.
I vote as well.
I vote that way as well.
The next one is that the supplier marketing permit. This is the permit we created to allow a number of suppliers and distributors to go do marketing events, to do tastings and bottle sales of their product, essentially to get their products known. We're proposing a few changes. One is to add some licenses that weren't on this when the advisory was first created, the importer's license, some of the new farm licenses. The second is there's a list of places you can use the permit. There's a catch-all at the end that says how you can go other places if you give the authority 15 days notice. So we have an email and then they all come to us. What we're seeing though is that it's an inconvenience to licensees, but it's also created a situation where we've had some licensees, in my view, push the privilege a bit, and they're opening up little pop-up stores that go on all summer at locations. So we're suggesting get rid of the notice requirement, but to place what I think are some reasonable limitations on when you can use it at the same location. I know you have something from Mr. Kozlow suggesting a higher number. My concern is that it's still, what he's suggesting still allows for those pop-up businesses that are going to run for a while. And this is supposed to be, I'm just doing an event. I'm not opening up a store.
Right.
The last thing it does is we have this new combined manufacturing licenses where if you have several craft manufacturing licenses, administratively we think of them as one license to cut down on your renewals and whatnot. Well, but we are still making them get a separate marking permit for each of their underlying licenses. So we're suggesting, look, if you have the craft manufacturing license, there's your permit. I will say that Mr. Cosell did raise an issue about transporting product, and it may not, we've told people this informally, but it may not be a bad idea to add it to this, that the marketing permit can be used to transport the product to the events as well, just to clear that up. I know, I've told people
We've
that.
always treated it that way.
I've told people that, but it's not clear. It's just, something I made up. So I'd rather have the board say it's okay.
Okay, I'm gonna vote in the affirmative as drafted, that marketing permits should be.
Okay, I'm going to suggest I'll
for the
add the language about the transportation and then share it with everybody for approval.
Yep. And I'll vote the same way.
Same here.
The last thing I have for today, but I'll have more coming, is you've already waived for the first licensing period the certificate of occupancy or letter of no objection.
Yep.
We didn't address public assembly permits. But what I'm proposing now is
To amend that.
to amend that to completely waive the need to submit certificates of occupancy, letters of no objection, or public, at all, for license applications,
Right.
not for permit applications, because we still need those, as I explained in my.
No, and similar to the certificate of occupancy, if you are violated by your locality for not having one, you are going to end up with a violation at the liquor authority. Doesn't mean you don't have to have
Right.
one, you still have to
Right.
follow the law. But we're not checking it.
Right. So that's what I would suggest, is that we just get rid of it entirely.
I'm okay with that.
I am as well.
I'm okay with that as well.
All right. There's nothing else on the calendar. Chairman, do you have anything?
I don't.
All right, it's concluded.
But he missed his train.